Live from beautiful downtown Bastrop, it's time for the Stage Select, starring Julian Titus and Justin Ham.
What could this possibly be? Seems a lot like a podcast. Wonder what specifically. Talking about video games. With your hosts, you're in good hands. Not more of the same. Now we'll jump right in. So expect the unexpected and more. Now we'll get grooving. Never know who's gonna walk through the door. There just might be some strategy in this. Just having fun with our special guest. Time for Stage Select.
And here are your hosts, Julian Titus and Justin Ham.
Welcome, one and all, to the Stage Select. I'm Julian Titus.
And I'm Justin Ham. Hi, we're here. I guess we're going to talk about video games now.
Yes, we will.
Okay.
Justin,
Yeah.
actually, can we switch to nano communication really quick?
Oh, yeah. Hold on.
Holy
What's up?
fuck, dude. I got fucking nothing. It's the second episode of the second season. I've got fucking nothing to talk about, dude.
You and me both. I mean,
The listeners can't know. The audience can't know.
no, I know.
I'm freaking out up here,
It'll
man.
be fine. Like, we'll just talk about, I don't know, something. We'll figure it out. It'll be okay.
Oh, God, we should have rehearsed. We should have rehearsed.
What good's that gonna do?
I don't know.
Yeah,
You're right.
yeah. I mean,
All right,
really,
all right.
it should be okay. Let's not worry about it too much. All right.
All right, you're right. Yeah, so just got a jam-packed show lined up for all of you fine people tonight. Just
It's gonna be a wild ride. Buckle up.
yeah.
Buckle your safety belt and pour some oil on your stepmom. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you seen the games that I've been playing during the break? Is that
No,
what's
actually,
going on?
I did. I ran out of things to say there, so I just made something up. I'm trying stuff out. It's a new thing I'm doing.
Okay, working on your new Type 5.
No, no, not at all. Actually.
Well, before we jump into things, I did have one quick announcement, which is to let everybody know that the Soundtracker podcast is back.
Hooray!
Eric Peacock has been away for a while, and he just came back with a new episode this week. His new episode just came out this week as we're recording this, Menace to Society.
Oh,
And
all right.
he DM'd me, and so I'm going to be getting with him to do Varsity Blues very soon, so I'm very excited, because not only does that give me an excuse to rewatch that movie, but also an excuse to listen to that soundtrack a few times, because
That's extremely your shit, Julian.
it's extremely my shit, Justin. Fucking love that soundtrack
I know
and
you
that
do.
movie.
I know you do.
Filmed
know.
in my backyard, actually.
Right?
So I've got some fun stories about that for the Soundtracker podcast.
Yep. Julian often giving tours of his own backyard to be like, "Yep, they filmed that scene right here,
Just right here, yeah,
right where this dirt pile is.
yeah.
This dead tree over here. That's where they did something."
When Sandra Bullock was filming Hope Floats, not far from my high school,
Okay.
I was so close to skipping just to see if I could go over and get a glimpse of her, but I was a good boy. I didn't do that.
Well,
but I
you
really
know,
wanted to.
next time.
Yeah.
Next time Sandra Bullock films near you, you can do that.
I think she still lives here.
Oh well, there you go.
Yeah,
Maybe you'll run into her at an Arby's.
maybe.
Yeah, you never know. Never say never. Never count it out.
I saw I forget which WrestleMania match he was training for, but I saw this like video of Undertaker like getting ready for one of his like final WrestleMania matches. It was like pre-pandemic,
One of his like 7 final WrestleMania matches. Yeah.
So I don't know which one it was.
Yeah.
But he was actually training at a place like right across the street from where I was working at the time.
Why not?
I was like, oh shit.
You could have seen the Undertaker in full scumbag form.
Yeah. Friend of the show, John Gholson, used to see him all the time when he worked at the movie theater.
I believe it. Yeah.
Yeah, because he used to take his kids to see like every kids movie. So
Why not?
John's got a lot of funny stories about the Undertaker's like almost 7 feet tall with his chicken legs in his shorts.
Yeah.
Walking up, going like 1 for or 2 for B movie. Like
That's good. That's good. I like that image already. That's great. That's really good.
Yeah. When I was working at the theater, I remember we got a call from. I was working the box office at the time, but they wanted to talk to a manager, and John was the manager on duty at the time, and it was Lance Armstrong's manager.
Okay.
Because Lance wanted to come see a movie, but he wanted to make sure that he didn't get swarmed by people, and so they wanted all of this special protocol. They wanted to bring him in through the back door and all this stuff. And, and John was like, it's really not going to be an issue. We've had a lot of major celebrities here. Winona Ryder was here not that long ago. We've had Robert Rodriguez. We've had these major celebrities. He'll be fine. Nobody's going to do anything.
Yeah.
But the manager was like, no, we need assurances.
It's Lance Armstrong. Okay.
Exactly. It's that dude. You take him out of the yellow bike shorts. It's nobody knows who you are.
Yeah, he's just a regular dude for the most part. I mean, other than he survived cancer or whatever the hell it was. I don't know. I've always heard Lance Armstrong not a great guy, but I can't remember what exactly. So
real bad guy. No, the whole doping thing.
Well, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that bit, but I can't remember. There was something else that happened too, but I can't remember.
And then just general, assholery from being a super wealthy dude. I remember seeing a story that his estate uses this is well over 14 years ago at this point, but his estate was using an ungodly amount of water every month.
Oh, I believe that.
Just ridiculous amount of water.
Well, he's got to water his plants.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. The only celebrity that I feel truly blessed that I hated, and as sports wise, is Brett Favre. I'm really glad that guy turned out to suck, and I was right about him. I'm glad he's not a really great dude, because I'd be like, man, I hate that guy, but he's an all right guy, I guess. But no, I hate that guy, and he sucks. And I'm good. My hatred has paid off. Fucking hate Brett Favre.
Yeah, I'm still pretty proud of my my bullshit detector with people. I've got a really good meter for kind of sussing out when people suck.
Yeah.
Even when they have this persona that's oh no, they're so this and that. It's no, that something about that person is setting off the alarms in my head, and I've been right pretty much every time so far. I think the only one, so far the one that still has yet to be proven is Mr. Beast, but it seems month after month, I'm kind of more in the right.
Yeah, it seems who knows. I know I was very disappointed recently with the whole Neil Gaiman thing or whatever. I was oh man, yeah, that one sucked. I was yeah.
That one's rough. I was not even introduced to him until my last girlfriend. We actually went to see him do a, I don't know what you would call it. He was just reading excerpts of things that he had written and stuff like that. And I was like, man, this dude's awesome. He's so well spoken and stuff like that. And I started following him on Tumblr and always loved what he posted.
Yep.
I haven't read any of his stuff, but I loved the Good Omens show on Amazon.
Right.
And so then it's a thing. It's well, I mean, I do have this copy of American. Wait, is he American Gods? He's American Gods,
American
right?
Gods, yeah.
Yeah. And it's but it's already purchased.
Yeah. I have the whole Sandman series sitting over here in omnibus form, and I'm well, I guess I own that now. And
but and the thing about that, and the thing what I was going to get to, and also the thing about the Good Omens show is that it's not just him, right?
Yeah.
Sandman, there's artists that worked on it, there's inkers that worked on it,
so that's,
and it's also a legacy character.
Yeah, there's at least that.
The Good Omens show, it's but I also love David Tennant and oh man, I'm forgetting the other actor's name.
I don't know.
And it's this big collaborative effort, right?
Yep.
But then I mean everybody's got to have their line, right?
Oh yeah.
Because
sure.
everybody everybody sucks. And like, if you look hard enough, like you're going to find
You
people
can find
to take
something.
issue with.
You can find something to take issue with, but there is a line where I'm like,
There is a
okay,
line.
All
Yeah.
right, that one might be a little too far.
Yeah. It's like, I still have like my Harry Potter books because I already paid for them.
Yeah.
But like, if she wrote a new Harry Potter book, I ain't touching that thing with a 10-foot pole.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? But I found it interesting this week. Oh, this actually is apropos.
There you go.
So like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is like just tearing it up. Like it reviewed like extremely well, but also I've seen like my, like Twitter and Blue Sky feeds just kind of blow up with it in a way that I find very interesting, simply because the first game was kind of made like persona non grata because like I think I forget if it was a lead director or someone on the team was like a pretty like prominent Gamergator.
Yes, they were. I remember that whole thing.
And I'm not sure if they're still there or not. I did see something that like I think there are still like some people there that align with like the whole Gamergate stuff.
Probably.
But like it doesn't seem to have stopped people from just like eating it up with a spoon this time.
Yeah.
And if anything, I would have expected it to maybe even be a more of a hot button thing considering the climate out there, but so far no.
So far no.
So I found that very interesting. I actually almost impulse bought it today simply because like I had Gargura on like as like background noise while I was working playing the first game. And I was like, this game actually sounds pretty fun. Yeah. And like I know the second one's supposed to have like a lot of improvements over the first and whatnot. And
I bought the first one recently for like, I don't know, $2 or some shit on Steam because I was like, why not? It's $2.
Yeah.
Even if I never play it. That's my concern with buying the second one is I'm like, I feel like this is a game I should buy in the future for like $5 and then never play. I don't know what it is about that game, but.
And the IGN reviewer was like, yeah, so in my 120 hours, I'm like, oh my God, dude.
Oh, I imagine it's a long one. Yeah.
That's longer than I was expecting, though.
Oh, no. Yeah. I bet there's a lot of shit in it. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I got to see how long Avowed's going to be. I'm expecting Pirate Yakuza to be like a 40-ish or maybe even a little lower. I'm trying to remember how long I spent on Man Who Erased His Name because I want to say it was like sub 40, but maybe not.
I can't remember how long. I think it was about 40 for me, but I can't remember now.
Yeah.
And when I played on Xbox, so I can't look it up either.
I remember it felt right. I was like, this is kind of how I want these games to be.
It felt a good length, honestly. Yeah, I remember that. Like, it was longer, but not, like, crazy. Yeah. That's tough to say, but... Yeah, Avowed might be long, but at the same time...
If it's like Outer Worlds link,
that's what I was going to say. Outer Worlds wasn't that long, so... Yeah. Outer Worlds was kind of the perfect length too, because like it had just started to kind of. I remember feeling like, okay, I'm kind of starting to feel a little off, or not off, but like kind of like,
ready.
All right, yeah, I'm ready for this to be done. I think like if it would have kept going, I think I would have been very over it. But like it was wrapping up as soon as I kind of felt like that. I do remember that about that game, which is a good thing, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Especially with games like that, where like there's so many different ways that you can play your character. It's like I kind of want to like I'm very well known, over the course of like Nerds Without Pants and also just with like my friends and stuff like that of just like beating a game and moving on and not touching it again. But like there are certain games where I do kind of want to go back, and games like those where because I played Outer Worlds as a really strong moron the first time and missed out on a lot of shit because he was too dumb to like figure stuff out, and that was fun. But like one of these days I want to go through it again with someone that's smart enough to actually like get those quests. Right.
Yeah, that's what kind of makes those games replayable. So yeah, you should try that sometime. Try one before the second one comes out as a refresher or whatever. That might be fun to do.
Yeah, I might do that. Yeah, because again, it's not that long, and then
no, it's really not.
I don't think they've announced like the actual release date for it, but it is supposed to be this year.
Is it? Yeah, I could see that being like early next year.
I could see it getting pushed as well. Like it would be kind of crazy to ship two big RPGs in the same year from the same company.
I don't know how Obsidian is split up, workload wise, but like, yeah, that would be kind of nuts.
Yeah.
But
it is a pretty big year for the Xbox brand, and it's kind of funny that, I mean, on one hand, I understand it. Like, I think people are starting to understand the strategy, which is kind of what I had been saying on our last episode of last year, which is that whole this is an Xbox campaign is like kind of genius, because that's kind of the goal.
Yeah.
Is get their games into as many hands as possible. They're basically doing the Sega thing, but just not formally announcing that they're pulling out of the hardware biz.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like the games that are coming out this year and into next year and stuff like that are the games that would historically sell units,
Yeah.
or sell consoles, right? So it is kind of weird that like they're not even like attempting, it's like, no, they're, because like all the stuff that they did in that like Xbox Direct like a week ago or 2 weeks ago or whatever, they're like, oh no, these are all coming to PlayStation 5 like day and date, and it's like, really?
Yeah.
Day and date, you say?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, they're gonna, yeah, it's a matter of time. They're gonna, I feel like they're gonna stop selling hardware, and I don't blame them.
No, I don't either. I do worry about it simply because I feel that then Sony has no competition, because Sony's not competing with Nintendo. Like, let's just, like, they're doing very different things. You know,
for sure.
They're competing for people's time, but as far as like what their strategies are and the types of games that they make, they are going for very different things. But without Sony having like a competitor that is doing the same thing, I do worry. Like,
no, that's a valid fear, I would say.
Yeah.
That is a valid fear. I guess you could say they're competing with PC, but not really.
Not really, especially since
That's
you know that their
different
stuff is
thing.
going to come to PC eventually.
Yeah,
at this
usually
point, right?
it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for Stellar Blade to come out on there, because I at least want to try that stupid game.
That one is surprising to me, because I guess I
kinda
didn't.
shocked that it hasn't, but yeah.
Yeah. And it's not on Xbox either, is it? So
No.
that's actually a PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah,
right now.
right now. As far as I know.
Interesting.
It's weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very strange. But yeah. Anyway.
So what have you been up to, Justin? Like,
oh god.
Last episode we were recapping our top 10 lists.
Yeah.
So I mean, you and I have kind of like just like shut the shit like off mic here and there,
for sure.
but for the listeners' edification, and also I don't know what all you actually got up to.
Yeah, I have my Steam up, and a lot of what I played is just kind of the same old shit. Because that's what I do when we're off. I'm just like, let's just go back and just play something that I've been wanting to play again for some reason. For example, let's start at the start of this journey. The start was when Jeff was on the show. We were talking about Cyberpunk, and while he was not positive on it, us talking about it made me go, I kind of want to just play Cyberpunk again.
Yeah.
So I played Cyberpunk again, and I was like, I haven't really tried like modding Cyberpunk. Let's try modding it this time. It turns out it's not a real great time to try to do that. Because
really?
they keep updating it and it breaks shit. And also that game's very strange, modding wise, because the 2.0 update broke like half of the mods that are on the Nexus, so you have to be real careful as to like, when did this get made? Like, or else it will just not work or break everything. So it's a little weird in that aspect. Most stuff works though. Like, there's some stuff that's just like, yeah, this still works. It's fine. Like clothing and shit like that. And that's really all I added. Because it's also one of those games that like, it plays pretty good on its own. So you don't really need to add a whole hell of a lot. Like, the one gameplay change that I ended up making was I tweaked the camera for first person driving, which was actually pretty neat, to make it to where it's like it felt like more like in position of where you would be driving a car, and it kind of made that nice, and like tweaked the controls to feel like slightly better. And I was like, this is actually pretty good. This is a good one. And the other one I made was I basically turned hacking back to kind of the way it was before the 2.0 update, because it was just like
oh, they changed it?
Yeah. Oh, hacking's way different now.
Huh.
Well, I guess that's a little it's very similar to how it was, but like you could fucking in the original, like kind of like, or not the original, but like before the 2.0 stuff, you could walk into a place and like just fucking nuke everybody with hacks and like just one shot them.
Oh, I thought you meant the hacking mini game.
No. I'm sorry. No, the like just like the
actual abilities.
Yeah, the abilities and stuff like that. Like they were way more. They felt way more powerful before.
Yeah, that was a big bummer for me playing it the first, like when the 2.0 came out, because yeah, it felt like even like the really cool stuff that you could do, it's like they would like track it right away.
Yes.
So like
the tracking was a big thing.
Yeah.
And the one mod that I found that I really liked turned it back to where like, okay, the tracking thing is still there, but it's a lot more rare when it actually happens. Like they actually like assigned it to certain enemy types that would do that. Like if there's a net runner around, they will track you. And I'm like, that's cool.
Which makes sense.
That makes sense. Yeah. Like instead of like this random gang of dudes that are fucking just over here doing drugs can suddenly track this net runner. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like that doesn't make any whatever. So that was that made that pretty fun to play through. I didn't play through the entire thing. I basically just, got Johnny Silverhand and then did every single gig in town and then was like, that's it for me. I'm done.
That's an interesting way to go about it.
Yeah, because I love the gigs. I think they're really fun to play. Like, because you can do them in so many ways, and I like to just sit there and like kind of solve the puzzle of how to do them a lot of the time. The main quests are fun too, but at the same time, I'm like, I kind of seen all this shit. I really don't need to do it again. And some of them are like kind of a pain in the ass every now and then. So yeah, that's kind of what I did. And then I kind of just went, all right, well, that's this game. And then I started to have kind of an issue, and I think it was mod related, where if I drove really fast through an area, if I started driving fast, it would crash the game, and I was like, okay, something's not quite right. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna put this down and figure that out another day. And so then I started playing Baldur's Gate 3 because I was like, let's go try to mod Baldur's Gate 3. It's been a little while since I've done that. And modding Baldur's Gate 3 as of right now is also kind of boring to me. It's not bad, but there's like that's another game where I'm like, I don't know what to add like gameplay wise to this. And there's
they've done so much.
Yeah,
like,
and there's
I think the big one that I keep hearing about is like the unrestricted party, where you just have everybody in your party.
Yeah, that's neat. I didn't mess with that one. What else? There's I think there's a mod that can make it to where you can get Alfira to join. Something like that. There's a couple neat ones that I was like, I still don't really want to mess with that. And plus they're updating that one still. Hopefully they'll
constantly.
Yeah, well, the 1.8 one is coming out soon. God knows that'll probably break a bunch of shit. And so, so then when you hear that, you're like, okay, what am I even doing?
Yeah.
But I did.
Congratulations, by the way, on your
my YouTube
your Tifa video breaking like 1,000 views on YouTube.
1,000 views. That's fine. That's not bad. That was fun. Somebody was really upset at me about it, which was hilarious to me.
What were they upset about?
You know what? Why not? It's been a while since I've gone and revisited this. Hold on, it's fun. So all I do on YouTube, for those that don't know, is I just put the Twitch archives up. That's all I do.
Yeah, no editing.
There's no editing. I'm not going to sit there and do that. I don't expect anybody that like doesn't listen to this show or whatever, watches the streams not to watch it or whatever. So it was kind of surprising to me that anybody fucking watched that piece of shit. But somebody, because I guess, people seen it, I guess. Somebody, let's find the video because I got to read this.
Were they angry at your suboptimal play?
No. No, they weren't. I mentioned it on another thing, but I'm going to have to go click on this, pause that. All right. Okay. This is the comment from some fucking asshole. I won't read their name. Okay. So you know what? We're just gonna read it. This is the comment. Sure, extreme long beard, a casquette, and Tifa in Baldur's Gate 3. A console in the bedroom, which is this is the part that immediately pisses me off. I'm like, okay, tell me you didn't watch the video without telling me you didn't watch the fucking video. Because I don't know how many times during that thing I was like, oh yeah, I'm playing on PC. I just play with a controller. So right away.
Right. Well, also, I don't know that you can even mod it on console.
Yeah. I don't. Well, no, you can. There is mods.
Oh, okay.
But I don't think this particular combination of mods is on there. Anyway, let's buy a nice microphone to stream all that shit. I mean, what the hell is going on here? Seriously, what the hell, dude? All this randomness is awful. One character of Final Fantasy VII does not make this entire thing a crossover of Final Fantasy VII. And I'm like, okay, bro. I'm like, really? I'm like, okay. Just say a random creep using Tifa mod, which is all in caps, so they're really upset about that. Why are you showing some stupid low-end cars and cassette from the 80s and 90s? And I'm like, because that's what the stream is, man. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. WTF. Cut that shit in some editing. No, go fuck yourself. Are you really expecting me to sit down to watch you in your bedroom playing Baldur's Gate 3 on a console again and not on a PC again for 3 hours? I will leave you with your mature, coherent, logical, meaningful, and fulfilling life. That's the entire comment. You know what? Fuck it. I'll call out this guy's name. Stephen Marco Drums 4877, whose name I can click on and immediately go watch your stupid fucking ass play drums on fucking, like, this guy sits here and covers like fucking Hall & Oates on drums. I'm like, oh yeah, real fucking high skill level. Fucking asshole. Like I don't go on your shit and just be like, oh man, why don't you fucking hit the little drum beat on fucking that Phil Collins cover, you piece of shit. Jesus Christ. Like, why even bother? Why bother the comment?
But you have to admire, like, well, he got to the break, like.
Did he? Or did he skim through the whole thing?
Or maybe he skimmed through it.
That's what he did.
Yeah,
like he watched it for X amount of time, then skimmed through, and then was like, I don't understand what this
stuff
is.
In the middle.
And I'm like, oh my god, I'm so sorry you had a bad day, but why do this? And I
like that's a lot of, you know. It wasn't like. That's like a screed. That's not like a you know, just an all caps one sentence and you're done.
I would love that. Like that I'm like, oh yeah, okay, fine, sure, that's whatever. But I like at first I read it, I was like, okay, well, yeah, I always expect a negative comment here or there, whatever, that's fine. But that when I read,
I'm not even really sure like where like what the issue is. Like
I don't know,
he's kind of all over the place.
Yeah, that's
like, is he upset that you're in your bedroom, that you have a beard?
The more I read it, the more I was like, what the fuck is this guy's problem? And then, like, I encourage anybody listening to this to go look at that man's profile and just, like, you look at him and go, yeah, that guy looks like a fucking asshole. Like, because I did it. I was like, I wonder if this guy's fucking posted anything. Like, it wouldn't it be funny if I just went on his videos and just fucking started being like, I don't know what you're doing here. Like, why even cover songs that are already made? Like, you're just, who bothers playing the drums over these? That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, oh my God.
I wish that you could actually like see all of their comments that they make on other videos on YouTube, because like
it'd be great.
That's what I'll do. Like when somebody like gives me like a you know, like just like an out of pocket response on like Twitter or Blue Sky, like I'll click on and be like, oh, so this is just what you do.
This is just what they do. Right. And you're just like, okay, yeah, all right, whatever. Go do you, man. I don't give a shit. But yeah, I was like, it was like one of those things that I remember I stewed on it all fucking day. I just sat there like, what the fuck, man? Like,
yeah,
god damn. And then I was like, all right, who cares? I don't give a shit. Why would I give a shit? And then I like, it made me mad when I clicked on their profile. I was like, Okay, so you just do shitty drum covers on YouTube and then go piss on on other stuff. Okay, cool. I see.
And specifically, like the type of music that you, Justin Ham, like are just like, oh
Yeah, like listen, Hall and Oates is hilarious to me, but that's it. Like Hall and Oates is funny as shit.
Yeah, but you don't like Hall and Oates.
No, I'm not like, oh my god, I need to listen to Hall and Oates. I tried to do that once during work. I was like, wouldn't it be funny if I just worked while listening to Hall and Oates? And that lasted for like 2 songs. And I was like, I can't actually do this. It's not very good.
Sounds like a good time. I'm not gonna lie.
Listen, it was like a real good time. It was uplifting until like weird ones start to come on that I don't know very much about, and I'm like,
sure,
yeah. I was like, okay, all right, I'm gonna actually switch this to something else. This is a little too much for me.
But at the same time, it's like that's the thing though, right? So like I didn't read it on the show, but we did get a 1-star review.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't read it because like it was just like I think the host has TDS, which I had to look up, and apparently it's Trump disorder syndrome. Like, and it's like I don't even talk about him, like hardly at all, like anywhere, like even just like on my profiles and stuff like that. Like I kind of make it a point to like, because it's like what's the point? But the thing that rankles me, Justin, the thing that sucks is that we only have like 10 reviews.
Yeah.
So like that 1-star actually has tanked like our actual like overall score. I think we're like at like a 4.3 out of 5 now, and it's like, and because I know that it actually doesn't help. Like I now know that like the reviews on like Apple Podcasts and stuff like that actually don't do really anything other than like. I do feel like they kind of legitimize the podcast if you happen to click on them and see like, oh, they've got like a lot of reviews,
a lot of
right?
good reviews, yeah.
And so it does rankle me when I'll see like other podcasts that have like been around like as long as this show or less time than this show and have like way more reviews, and I'm like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like how? Like what? But at the same time, it's whatever. I'm glad that we brought this up because I watched a Super Eye Patch Wolf video recently. I've been kind of I just recently subscribed to him because of the Versus Wolves podcast, and I hadn't watched any. I had watched like 1 or 2 of his videos just like randomly, but like now that I know who he is, like I'm kind of going back through some of his videos, and he did this like 2-hour video about people on YouTube who were trying to like help you like grow your audience or like all like take these courses to like blow up on YouTube or Twitter or whatever the fuck, right? But there was some really interesting stuff that he was talking about in there, one of which actually led me to look up like what is the actual like average number of listens or the average number of downloads for a podcast. And then I found out that we're already like well above the top 50% of all podcasts, which is so it was simultaneously like encouraging and discouraging. Yeah. Because it's like, okay, so we're doing way, way better than I ever thought we were. Yeah. But on the other hand, it's like, but that also means that what I thought was a modest goal of having like an average of 100 downloads per episode per week is like probably nigh unattainable for us, because like that would put us well above the top 25% of podcasts. Well, and it just kind of goes to show you just Julian. How many shows are actually out there that have no downloads at all, right?
People, anybody can start a podcast.
Exactly. Yeah. But the interesting thing, he ended his video with this like kind of little animation that he did, kind of talking about that, like the rise, right? Where because like, you start out and like you don't have very many views, but like then you start to get a few more and it feels really good and you're engaging with your audience and this and that. And then like, you hit like this certain threshold and you're like, look guys, like I proved that like a little, like just like a regular person can become a big YouTuber. Yeah. But then someone from your audience steps up and says, dude, you're a big YouTuber. Yeah. And then like there's this gulf all of a sudden between you and your audience that wasn't there. And just like kind of all the mental stuff that goes into it. But he did talk about like the way that, you'll get like all of this like praise and people like really enjoying your stuff, but then there's that one guy.
There's that one. There's that one thing that you read and
that keeps you up.
What the fuck is your problem? Like, yeah.
And the analogy was really good because he was like, there's only like 1 in 10 of those guys, and so I can, like when you have like 100 people, that's still only 10 of these guys. I think he called him Anthony or something like that. And he's like, I can deal, that's fine. But then when you get into 100,000 Anthonys or like what have you, it's like that's a lot harder to
feel
filter out.
Overwhelming. Yeah, because then all of a sudden, you feel attacked all of a sudden. But yeah, you shouldn't, but you do. No, I get it. But yeah, no, that.
It's still very funny though. For on that one, yours. It's like, dude, what do you want about?
It's really funny. No, God bless the guy. I hope he's doing great at the doctor's office or whatever the fuck that he works. He seems like a guy that fucking handles insurance at doctor's offices. I don't know what he does. I don't really care. But that shit just like I think again, I was like, all right, yeah, whatever, man, fuck off. And then I clicked on the profile. I was like, oh, now I'm fucking pissed. I don't know why. I that day Googled what I was like, should I retaliate? Old me, this is how much I've grown as a person. Old me would have went to fucking war, Julian.
I want to see Justin Ham at war.
Old me in like 2009, 2012, I would have fucking went to war, man. Oh, it would have been on. But I was like, no, what's the point? Why bother? We'll just leave. It can just stay there. It's fine. I hope they're having a better day than they had that day. Anyway, I played Baldur's Gate 3 some more. There are YouTube videos that you can go watch of me playing as Murder Tifa, which was a fun. As soon as I seen that I could make that combination of things, because it's like 3 different mods that you have to do to make that happen, and they all just randomly happen to like work together, and I was like, oh man, I should do that playthrough. Like, it's a little janky, but I should do this. Like, it would be funny. If anything, like, nobody will probably ever watch it, but I did it for me, and that's good. And yeah, no, I was just like, yeah, let's do fucking Dark Urge Tifa, so I can actually do like the evil run and have like kind of and see what some of that stuff's all about. Which is really funny. I murdered a child. I beheaded Karlach, which was fun. No, I had to do it. I had to do it. That's how I ended the second stream. That's like the one. Like, no, you never. Julian, she's gonna leave the party anyway after I do a bunch of other evil shit. So fair. Let's just get it over with now. Yeah. No, I didn't feel good about it. It was what I think the funniest part, looking back at it, was so I knew that scene was in there, but I didn't know how to get it exactly, because so the way you do it is you go, like, when you encounter Karlach, you basically, there's a bunch of dialogue options that are like, no, Will, we got to do it, we got to beat her up, we got to kill her. And he's like, yeah, you're right, she's lying, let's do it. And so you fight her, and you have a fight, and I expected after the fight for the scene to play, but it doesn't. And I was like, did it glitch out? Did I do something wrong? What did I do? And so on the stream, I did the fight like 2 or 3 times because I kept going, what am I missing a dialogue option? So at some point I just go, hold on, I know this is in here, and I know this is where it's at. Let me look this up. And I was like, oh, right, I got to go talk to these guys. And then I come back, and then I cut her head off. And so it's just like...
Oh, I just figured that you had to wait until she was staggered, then you do forward down, forward high punch.
That would be fun. That would be a lot funner. But no, you have to go talk to those guys that she wants to kill or whatever, that are in that little house, or
right.
little toll booth.
The fake paladins.
Yeah, the fake paladins. And then they're like, yeah, bring us back her head. And you're like, okay, yeah, sure, no problem. And you go cut her head off of her dead body. And I was like, yeah, this is good. This is fun. We're having fun here. I murdered a child. Well, I didn't murder a child per se. Tifa flicked her eyes to indicate that the child should try to run, and then the child was murdered by snakes.
I'm less jazzed about that. I got excited because I was like, man, one of the things that sucks about Fable 2 is that you can't kill the kids.
Yeah.
Like I really wanted to kill the kids in Fable 2.
It's a thing in pretty much all these games that they don't let you do that.
Yeah.
Even like Skyrim.
Parents will get upset.
Skyrim's the same way, but you can mod it in.
Yeah.
For sure. But Baldur's Gate 3 is still pretty fun. Still a blast.
It's like I told you, man. Like I'm kind of waiting for this. I'm waiting for them to say that they are done,
Mm-hmm.
and then I want to take another stab at it, and I want to see if like I can kind of tweak the difficulty around more to try to like give myself some more advantages because I ran into a fucking wall in Act 3.
From my personal standpoint, and I don't know about Act 3, from me just looking at it, and it might just be because I've gotten better, but like I feel like it got easier since the last time I played it. Like
they might have rebalanced some stuff.
Yeah, it feels like they did. Like because I'm still playing on like the easiest difficulty, and even I'm starting to go, I feel like I should maybe turn this up because this is like actually like I'm like plowing through these encounters. And granted, I know, a lot about those encounters, so it kind of helps, but at the same time I'm like I'm not like a lot of the times it used to be like, oh, this guy missed this attack and now I'm just fucked or whatever and stuff like that. But like now I'm just like, no, it's fine. We'll be all right.
Yeah.
Like, so
last time that I tried to I started a new game, it was like, nope, still missing more like rolls than I'm hitting.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like perpetually cursed somehow. I don't know.
One thing I learned about Shadowheart was if you try to use her firebolt ability, get fucked. Like it's bad. Like it's just
that's
bad.
what Xavier said when we recorded our second episode, and I was like, see, that's just that's just mean.
Yeah.
Like
well, she's a high elf, so she has to have a spell. And that's just what they give her is firebolt. And it's not a very good one. And then her like early game Shadowheart is not great. But like she gets better.
Because she was like my most useless character consistently.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, I actually so the playthrough I was playing like just by myself, like off camera and everything like that, was I was playing as a cleric. It's a Lunite cleric, so I could argue about religion with Shadowheart.
Nice.
Because I thought that would, and it was pretty fun. But also I was like in a romance with her. So it was extra entertaining when that stuff would happen. Like they disagreed heavily on this one thing.
So awkward for the rest of the party.
Yeah, right.
Have you ever been in that situation where like you're like hanging out with like a couple that has no problem like arguing in front of company?
That's exactly what I was going for. It was like precisely what I was going for. And it was fun, but like, and also like I was using Asterion a lot more, and because I didn't use him at all like the first time I played it.
He was like a regular in my party.
Yeah, I mean I used him for a couple things that you have to like take him along for, but like other than that, like no, he kind of just hung out on the sidelines, and I was more because like I didn't really need a rogue. My bard did all the rogue stuff for me.
Yeah, you could do all of the lock picking and sleight of hand.
I had like a jack of all trades in that character sort of thing. So like he had magic, he had this stuff going on. It was probably like very not optimized at all, but I don't care about that. But yeah, it was so I could do all my lock picking and stuff with my guy, and it was fine. So Asterion just kind of warmed the bench for the most part. But this time I've been taking him along, and I'm like, and now I'm starting to go, I kind of see why people like this character. He's okay. I like him.
Oh yeah, and he's just so like gloriously catty.
Yeah,
and,
I'm like, and now before like, because in my first playthrough as like just pure good guy, he kind of hated me until like the very end. Like we just like I would go to talk to him, he'd be like, yeah, whatever, man, fuck off, and I'm like, all right, I'll move on. But now, now I'm like, oh, okay, all right, yeah, okay, Asterion, I get it, yeah, okay, I'm seeing. Have you
ever failed the role when he goes to feed on you at night?
Yes.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, that is fun. Yes, that is pretty good. But yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 still pretty fun game. But still kind of it wasn't scratching the I want to mod a video game itch for me. I think Baldur's Gate 3 modding will get there eventually, but it's not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
And which leads me to the thing that I've been doing the most recently, because I was like, I kind of just want to fucking mod Skyrim again. So I started modding Skyrim again, and I'm not proud of it, but that's what I've been doing.
Now, we should be clear for newer listeners, because this is not as well established a thing with them for Justin Ham, but long-term Nerds Without Pants listeners know that this is a thing that you do on a regular basis.
Oh yeah,
like the two things that Justin Ham plays the most and it's not the actual game so much as it's modding Skyrim and modding The Sims.
The Sims, Skyrim, and I would say like a close third for like WWE games sometimes.
Yes.
Depends. I kind of come in and out of those a little bit.
I actually went over to a friend of the show, John Gholson's house, to watch the Rumble last weekend, and I was telling him, I was like, yeah, Justin's like kind of a well-known dude as far as like the creator wrestler like scene.
Yeah.
Like people are like hitting up like, hey, you gonna get the new one? You gonna have stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Like you
I am, man, I'm extremely torn on the new game. For the simple reason, so it looks good. Like it actually, they're saying the right things and showing off the right shit. They're like showing stuff that I've been like, man, it'd be nice if they did this again, like, or added this thing. Like recently, a thing, and you'll never hear about it, but like it was like some like tweet that they put out. They're like, oh yeah, now in Create a Moveset, you can set like how the AI wrestles and what moves they use and what percentage you do. And I was like, which is what Fire Pro always did, and that was what was cool about Fire Pro. You could set up you could set them to do some wild shit in Fire Pro and like actually wrestle like the actual wrestler did. So now you can do that, and I'm like, that's fucking cool. Like I'm like, I don't know how long that would take me to do. And I'm and I'm scared to find out, but that's cool that it's there. There's like they're going in on like, yeah, you guys can wrestle girls now. It's fine.
I'm like, so excited for that again. Yeah, because my thing like with the older games, like the PS2 era, is that I would make a bunch of video game characters.
Yeah,
and I would bring my memory card to work,
right,
and I would just like have these battle royale matches with like, and so it'd be like Zangief and Blaze from Streets of Rage and Tyrant from Resident Evil, and all in the ring at the same time.
That shit's cool. Like I'm like, all right, this is great. But also there's like this new thing called the Island that they're going to implement, which is essentially the NBA 2K like city mode, but for wrestling. And I'm already like, oh, I don't know about that. But here's the thing. Here's the kicker. So it's not available on Steam. If you get the Steam version of it, which was the version I was planning on getting, you don't get any of the island stuff. Not that I give a shit. I instantly was like, I don't.
Wait, that's weird though. There's an entire mode gone.
Yes, from the Steam version. Also, there is no more cross-platform stuff. So before, and I can tell you what, probably with confidence, why they did this. So before,
I know.
PC and PC Steam or whatever, Xbox and PlayStation all had like on the custom content stuff, you could download from anywhere. Like it was all the same stuff. But what started to happen was PC people were modding it and putting the modded stuff onto onto the thing. People would download it and it would work on console. Like, so they, and there's all like really like trivial stuff that they got upset about. Like, the one they got in a tizzy about, or at least I remember, and they put some sort of patch later on that fixed it in quotes. But really it just pissed everybody off and broke a bunch of stuff for people was somebody made a mod where you could, and it sounds so dumb, but you could use 2 different hairstyles on somebody.
No, that's amazing.
Yeah, right. Like you could add one and then layer it with another one, and it made made a huge difference because suddenly now I can have these bangs with this hair or whatever, however you wanted to do it, and that's really cool. But so then they fixed it, and so stuff like and I think the one that burned them was people started modding like intergender stuff in there. Where like, hey, this is basically this character, but you can use them to wrestle guys with. And so they got rid, they did away with a lot of that stuff. But that was the problem, was people were doing that from PC to there. And I'm wondering if that's why they got rid of that, or
see, I thought it was because of like the feet pics getting into like the custom sign JPEGs and
if
stuff.
you think that's the worst thing that ends up on there, I got some fucking news for you.
No, I know.
Oh my god. The amount of times where you're just like, that's just porn, when you're going through the image stuff, it's just like staggering. You're just like, that's just porn. Yeah.
Who's the wrestler most likely to wear an Ahagao hoodie to the ring?
Oh man, that's a good question. Man. I don't know. I almost wanted to say the New Day, but they know better.
No, they know better.
Yeah, they know better. Baron Corbin got let go, or I would have said him. I don't know. That's a tough one. Maybe Seth Rollins would do it for the lulz. I don't know. I haven't watched wrestling in a while, so I don't know really. I'm not very up to date on who's still there.
Have you heard the Gospel of Joe Hendry?
Joe Hendry seems cool. Yeah, no, I have. Okay. Yeah, I have seen Joe Hendry.
So I only found out about him at the Rumble, and I am now a fan because that theme song slaps.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Yeah. No, I am aware of them. I wonder. I always kind of wonder if they're going to do anything with the fact that they have a partnership with TNA now.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. They do.
That's what John was kind of saying, is like, it seems like they're really trying to make inroads as far as like actually like his thing was like, I think they might try to buy them. Like they're, see it. Yeah.
As almost like a sort of like scout league of some sort, or just, second NXT. But my thing was like, well, for the video game, like
right.
it would be cool if they implemented that type of stuff. But
oh man, I mean, they never do it because it's the same reason why they got rid of it, because the wrestlers couldn't adapt to it. But if there was like a mode in an upcoming WWE game where you could have the six-sided ring
would be fun. Yeah, that'd be neat. Yeah, that'd be tough.
Do some
to
X Division matches.
That'd be really that'd take a whole thing, and I don't think
there's no way.
There's no way. Even I'm like, there's no fucking point, man.
Yeah,
that's too much. That's too much for a game that you have to put out every year. If you were waiting a couple years, I'm like, yeah, why not? Like, let's do it. But but also the other thing that why they might not have cross platform stuff with it now is because of that island mode. Because they're gonna probably start because this is how NBA works, is they lock cosmetics to that stuff. So they might be...
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. I think
otherwise you could just get it all for free with modding.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if that's what it is. But I mean, you have the city mode on Steam for NBA. So I don't know. I maybe they just couldn't get it working. I'm not sure.
I need to see it, but I know it's not going to be as dumb as I want it to be, but I want that island mode to be the level of dumb that World Tour mode is on Street Fighter 6. I want it to where like you just like go up and like point your finger at somebody, and then like it cuts to like everybody, like all these people just like rush in and build a ring real quick, and then you just wrestle them right there in the middle of the street.
That'd be fun. Yeah, that'd be really fun. Actually, that would be really good. Yeah, I don't think it's that.
They still, like, even though they've kind of lifted the veil off of kayfabe, they still take it more seriously than I think they should.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I think it's more like a kind of like multiplayer hub sort of thing.
Yeah.
With like some little like questing stuff or whatever.
I'm envisioning more of like the crypt modes from the last Mortal Kombat games, but a little bit, but maybe more free roam than that.
Yeah, a little bit more than. I wonder if they'll implement the stupid cards thing that they've been Ultimate Wrestler thing, whatever the fuck that is. I stay so far away from that mode that I don't even remember what it's called now. That's
Ultimate Teams.
It's like Ultimate Team, but for
that's the EA one.
It's My Faction. That's what it's called. It's basically you build a wrestling faction, but you get cards and you put them in there. And all I see on the Reddit stuff that I follow for WWE stuff is just like people complaining about how impossible some of the stuff that's in there is, because like, I gotta get my Rock cosmetic, so I gotta beat the Rock, and he's impossible. And I'm like, oh, that sounds terrible.
It's in his contract. He can't be beaten.
Well, like, apparently you gotta beat him to get some sort of cosmetic. I don't know what's going on. I stay so fucking far away. I do not care about that type of stuff. But yeah, and then it's just people come over. Why do they put all these I'm like, it's a 2K game. I don't know what you expect. This is just, they're gonna fucking fit it in there somewhere. But anyway, but besides all that, they're saying all the right things, so I'm really interested to play that one. I just don't know if I'm gonna buy it on PC or on fucking Xbox now.
Right.
That's gotta, because before I'd be like, oh yeah, I can just buy it on PC. I can take screenshots, put it on the Xbox thing that I have or whatever. People will find it. It's the name's the same anyway. It'll be fine. But then now I
guess you'd probably want to wait for reviews and see how vital that island mode is.
Yeah.
And then that seems like the
But Julian, no, I need to play it 4 days early or whatever, so I'm not gonna get that. Let's be real here. I'm gonna probably pay an exorbitant sum of money to play the fucking game early.
Oh, you're part of the problem,
I
Justin.
know.
You're the reason why they're thinking that they can get away with selling GTA 6 for $100.
I know. I absolutely 100% know I'm part of the problem.
At least you're aware.
I am aware. Yeah, I think that's like the one game. Well, there's some other ones that I've done that for. I like to play the games early. I'm just like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm sitting here waiting for this fucking game to come out. Yeah, I'll pay you $10 to play it right now. Fuck it.
It's pretty crazy to me when games that are going to be on Game Pass like end up selling not only for full price, but the extra like $30 to play it early. I'm like, just get a $10 Game Pass subscription and you can play it next. But I mean, I get it, but I don't get it. Like in that particular situation, I don't get it.
Right.
Like unless you just don't have Game Pass, but it's like, but why don't you have Game Pass?
Yeah.
If you have an Xbox, I don't know. It's weird.
It is strange. But
although I could see myself being that idiot for Fable.
Yeah. Right.
Because like I'll just be like, no, I kind of want to know, and also I kind of just want to own it anyway because it's Fable.
Yeah.
So
I do want to play Fable.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my WWE rant, and this is a debate that will rage for the next month or so as to what fucking thing I should buy it on. I'll probably just buy it on Xbox because people know me on there. I can stream it to PC. It's a pain in the ass to do it, but I can do it. I got a capture card just for that reason. Oh man, I'm gonna have to get behind my TV. That's gonna be a whole fucking thing. Anyway, so Skyrim. Yes, I'm glad.
Which is where we started.
I'm glad I went on that little tangent there. Been modding Skyrim. So I did this last year too. So I took like a year off, and then now here we are back again. I did what I always do, and I'm just gonna start over again. Because where I went wrong last time, and not exactly wrong, that's a big term, but what ended up happening was when I started last year, the game had just got an update, like just randomly got a fucking update, and it broke a bunch of shit. So a lot of older mods just didn't work anymore. And so I downgraded the game to a version. I should have just went further. I should have just went 1.5.97. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, but I did.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's just a rookie mistake.
It was.
God damn,
I went with a
Justin.
different 1.6 version, and I was like, oh yeah, this will be fine. This will be fine. And it was fine. Like most of the stuff worked a-okay. Didn't have to worry about it. But at the same time, like, but now everything is updated. In the past year, everything got updated. So now most everything except a handful of shit here and there works with the newest update. Like you have to like get a patch for some of them, but they all work. It's fine.
I actually do have a question for you about this, and maybe
Sure.
I'm jumping ahead. You had shown me a trailer of a mod that made the combat actually cool.
Mhm.
Did that end up like coming to fruition, or did that end up just being kind of like a thing that is still being worked on?
So what I remember showing you, and pretty positive, and this is I'm glad you asked me about this. This is an interesting one. So that was the Skyrim Ultima list, and that is a list of mods that is like somebody took like X amount of time to make a whole list of mods out that all work together, and yeah, they tweak the combat,
Like a
and all that
curated
stuff.
bundle type thing.
Yes. The combat mod that they use is pretty popular. It's called MCO. There's two different versions. There's 80XP, which is basically MCO, but with a little slight tweak, and it's all in the same thing. It doesn't matter. MCO is what they use pretty much. And it basically kind of makes the combat very like almost Souls-like, where like there's
Yes.
attack commitment and stuff like that, and like you have to have specific move sets and animations and shit for it. And it's really cool. Like once you play with it, you're kind of like, I can't really go back from this. Like it's hard to go back from. But anyway, that was the Skyrim Ultima list, which is, if you've never heard of it or never gone and seen it, go look some of the old videos up. Now where that one gets interesting though, basically the earliest Skyrim Ultima stuff was kind of this was another mod list called Nulvis. It was the split off from that. Like they basically took that list and then tweaked it a little bit and made their own list. But but they used a bunch of the same stuff from Nulvis. So it was kind of a controversy in that sense. They couldn't publish it anywhere. They could basically like, hey, here's what I did to this. You can make it yourself. But then they went, hey, I'm going to make my own fucking mod list because this thing blew up on YouTube or whatever. And they started doing it. And I was on the Discord for that. Kind of like watching, and like I kind of would just like see what mods they were like talking about putting in and stuff like that, and what they were doing. I was like, this is a neat little thing to look at. Sometimes they have stuff that I've never even heard of or thought about. And then all of a sudden, and this was, I want to say around March of last year, all of a sudden I remember there was a bunch of like, because I assume people listening to this know how Discord works. When somebody adds everyone, it sends a notification to their phone or whatever. All of a sudden, I started getting a bunch of those from that subreddit, or that, I want to say subreddit. It's not subreddit. that Discord. I was like, what the fuck's going on? Because normally that means like, oh yeah, here's a new update, or I actually released the thing, because he was, like I said, it was a long time coming. People were like highly anticipating this thing coming out, and all of a sudden it was a bunch of the people that were like moderators on there going, yeah, hey, we don't know where the guy that's making this is at all. He is active, but he will not talk to anybody. He has just disappeared off the face of the earth. So we're done here. And I was like, oh, okay. And it was slightly after the actual list came out, because the list came out and it was like people were kind of bummed by it, actually, because a lot of the videos turned out to be like, yeah, they kind of skirt around some stuff because they were doing some editing. So it all looked really good. But like when you actually go to play it, like it's kind of a little bit of a mess here and there. And it's like, yeah, I could see it. Yeah, I can definitely see it. Because a lot of the stuff that they were doing, I would try myself because I would know what mods they were. And I would try myself and I'm like, yeah, this does not work. Like there's some problems here. And I would take that stuff off. But I was like, well, they must be doing something to get all that shit to work, but maybe they didn't. So they disappeared for like a year, and all of a sudden recently, like within the past month, all of a sudden, like the guy who made that list, his name's Nooked, Nukt, all of a sudden just showed up and was like, oh yeah, I'm working on something. Like, but I either that or he's posting old videos. I can't really tell which. But he was just like, yeah, here's like the list that I've been working on. Yeah, I've been trying to fix it. I kind of don't blame them, because that thing took off beyond like any, like that, the original Ultima videos have like millions of views.
Right.
So like people were like really into that shit and watching it, and that's a lot of pressure on a guy to like come through, and when it didn't quite do that, I can kind of see where he's just like, I just wanted to put mods in a video game. Can I just put mods in a video game and not have everybody yell at me? So I kind of get where they're coming from on that.
Oh, I totally get that aspect of it, but I do think that if you're in a situation where you've got like a large, like a community type thing, you probably at least just communicate a little bit, right?
Yeah, you probably should.
That's all you got to do, right?
Like that. Yeah, just like hey, look, I remember they said, yeah, I'm taking it down. It has a lot of issues. I'm gonna fix that stuff, and then I'll put it back up. And then they just kind of disappeared, and never said anything to anybody, and nobody knew where they went. You could still tell they were active because they would sign into Nexus mods, and some people noticed that they were on there. But that was the only way that they knew they were still alive or whatever and doing
exactly
stuff.
Yeah.
So it was a hell of a situation. One,
like I don't have any interest, or even like I don't give a shit about Silk Song, right?
Yeah.
But that team should at least be saying something to their audience, like give some sort
maybe
of like
a little bit
update.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
you'd think I feel like they're going for like, but when we do say something, it's going to be a really big deal, and I'm like, yeah, but like maybe show like some signs of life, like you don't have
like
to
even
say
if you don't have to show anything, you don't have to just say like, yeah, like we're still out here, we're working on it, blah blah blah, you know, like something.
We'll have something to say shortly, we promise. We're sorry it's anything, like, but no, nothing.
That was the big problem with Summertime Saga for a long time, because you know, right after I discovered the game is when they started on their tech update, which has now been going for like 4 years. And unless you went to Dark Cookie's like daily streams to listen to him talking about, you know, working on the game and stuff like that, like if you were just like supporting it on Patreon and not engaging with that stuff, it was just silence.
Yeah.
Right. And it, you know, now it's better because they're releasing like, I think like bi-monthly updates.
Right.
But they've also like taken out everything from the game and basically start like, you go to play the game now and it's like, okay, so there's like half of one character's quest line in here and like this character's full quest line and some of the teacher's quests, and nothing else. And it's like, but you can at least see. But now it's like, but they're coming out every 2 months, so at least there's like, you know, you're aware that it's not dead. But you just got to communicate better. And I was like, dude, I will handle the communication for you if you want, my dude. Like,
I'm not good at that kind of thing, but it's I don't know. Anyway, that was the Skyrim Ultima drama that happened, kind of, and I kind of caught up on it afterwards, like what actually went down with a lot of it, because I remember seeing that and be like, what the fuck's going on over there? Like, because I'd kind of stopped modding for like a month or so, and then like all of a sudden I was like, what the fuck? All right, well, I'll figure that out at some point. But yeah, that was what happened. So when I started this time and I cleared everything, I was like, man, I would really love just like a starting point, because the worst part of modding, and I've confirmed this multiple times with myself, like doing it is the startup of it, because you start downloading a bunch of shit that doesn't do fucking anything. that you see anyway. It's like you got to download all these bug fixes and all this papyrus stuff and all this other little things that all these mods rely on, and it's so fucking boring and tedious. Like you're just sitting there like, yeah, download this, okay, put it, okay, make sure it starts up, yeah, it starts up, great, cool, all right. And it's just the base game, and you're just like, okay, this is so boring. So I wanted like a startup thing. I was like, and I kind of went, it'd be nice to have like something that did like at least part of the graphics for me. So I started looking around, and I found this like a Wabbajack list, which is a thing that I would suggest to somebody who wants to see what Skyrim modding is go look up Wabbajack. And basically what it is it's a thing that it'll download an entire mod list. That's what Skyrim Ultima and all this stuff was it'll just download an entire mod list for you. It's already sorted out. It's got its own little instance on Mod Organizer, all this other shit. So it's plug it in and play for the most part. And I was like, oh, I would love like a basis one. And there was one, but it's very outdated now, that did all the basic stuff, and it doesn't work anymore. But I found one other one that I was looking at. I was like, this kind of sounds like exactly what I want. And it was called NGVO, which stands for Next Gen Visual Overhaul. And basically it was just a guy went in, he's like, I did, his name is Biggie Boss. He's like, I did all the bug fixes and shit that for Mod Reliance, and I updated all the graphics and put Northern Roads and patched it all for you. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure, fuck it, let's do that. So
he remastered the remaster, is what you're telling me?
Oh, basically. Oh yeah, NGVO looks really good. And then
we're probably about due for another version of Skyrim, right? Like it for them to
know. I don't know.
They haven't released a new SKU in a while.
Yeah, I could see it. I feel like they'll cool off on that for a while, maybe. But I could be wrong.
Yeah,
I feel like the money for them right now is doing something with Oblivion.
There's a lot of rumors of an Oblivion remake and also a Fallout 3 remake.
Yeah, I feel like there's money in that.
Yeah.
If they wanted to remaster and remake something, I feel like people are like, yeah, I feel like Skyrim is the saturation is kind of there. Like the people that are playing that game are just over there modding it, and that's what they're gonna do. And anybody that wants to play it or whatever is just going to see the modding stuff and go, oh, I'll just go do that. That's fine. You kind of reach a point of saturation where like you're not going to get like, well, you could, I guess, if you really updated it, you could get people to move over, but like you can make Skyrim look pretty fucking good. There's a lot of stuff that works with it, or that makes it look real good anyway nowadays. But anyway, so I got that list, and then it didn't take me long. I completely broke it because I'm a dumbass, which was on me. I didn't completely break it. I did something, and I know exactly what I did. I sorted my load order like a moron, there's a little thing on Mod Organizer that's just like, hey, put these things where they're supposed to go, but it's usually wrong. And I clicked that button, and then it broke the map. And I was like, oh, that's funny. I was like, I don't need a fucking map anyway. So I disabled that stuff. And then I started getting like weird errors in Mod Organizer. And I think it's because I also use it for other games and other stuff. And it's looking at, I don't know what's going on. But anyway, I started getting weird errors every time with NGVO. So I was like, I'm going to have to just do it myself, aren't I? Fuck. All right. Well, so I did that. I started all the way over. And it's been fun. I don't even care about playing Skyrim. I just love
that's what I was waiting to get to is that it's not even about Skyrim anymore for you.
I just like to play game dev. That's basically what it is. It really feels that way, and that's what's fun about it. Like the moments of joy of kind of breaking shit, like or downloading something that doesn't quite work, and then figuring out what's wrong with it through a series of weird shit. Okay, so here's my recent triumph that I'm very proud of. So I there's a thing I was doing all my NPCs. I was like, let's make all these guys look cool. So I downloaded all this stuff, and they all looked great. Then I got to all right, well, now the only NPCs left are the kids, and there's like 2 or 3 different kid overhauls that you can do to make them not look like fucking potato people. And I was like, okay, this is the one I always liked. Oh, it has an update. That's great. Or like there's a newer version of it. And I was like, okay, yeah, let's try that out. And then I went, oh, I wonder if I could combine the two, because this one has actually a couple things that the other one doesn't have. So let's combine them. And to my surprise, it worked until I went to look at the Dark Brotherhood, Julian, and I got in there and I was like, okay, everybody looks so good so far, except for this kid is completely missing their hands. Don't know why that is. That's a thing. I probably should figure out why that's happening. And so,
sorry, concept for a horror indie game where it's you modding an RPG and then the mods start to get more and more fucked up and start to do shit.
Yeah. Well, it's not in like a disturbing way per se.
Kids without hands is very disturbing, Justin.
Well, okay, let me describe the look of it. I bet
if you're a kid without hands, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with you. I'm just saying when you don't expect it in a video game,
you're beautiful.
Off-putting.
Okay, so basically the way it looks is in game is so the mod I was using was called The Kids Are All Right, which kind of uses this modified version of an adult body but shrinks it way down and then does some other stuff. And it uses kind of the vanilla clothing set to dress all the children in, right? So what was happening was something was hitting that character to where it got to the sleeves of their clothes, there was no arm anymore.
Right.
And the other thing that glitches out, and this is hilarious, I've been thinking about streaming it, and I may make it happen on purpose just because it's so funny to see it, is the other thing that can glitch out with kids, especially with that mod, is if you have things in the wrong load order, you'll go find one, and all of a sudden, they'll have an adult head, so they just have a giant, weird-looking fucking head on them, and it's really funny, but you're just like, God damn it, okay, I gotta go fucking fix this shit. Oh,
we call that a reverse Brock Lesnar around here.
It's pretty good. It's pretty great. Every time I see it, I'm like, God damn it, but it is really funny. It is really funny, because they still work, but they just look terrible. But anyway, they were missing their hands. And it's not like there's no cut off on the skin or whatever. You just see the inside of the clothes, right? So you're like, okay, something's going on here. What the fuck is this? So I start looking around and I'm like, okay, what do I have that could even touch this character? What's different about them? The character's name is Babette. If anybody remembers Skyrim's Dark Brotherhood quest line, there's a kid who's a vampire who's in the Dark Brotherhood. And basically her gimmick is she pretends to be a little girl. It's an interview with a vampire.
It's the trope.
It's that trope, right? They're doing that shtick. So you get in there and she's giving this speech and she doesn't have hands. And I'm just sitting there like, okay, what do I have that? I was like, okay, I have a couple things that touch vampires specifically. I had one thing that works off this thing called SPID, that touches, that gave claws to vampires. And I was like, I bet money that's it. Bet money that's it. If I turn that off, no problem. I bet. Nope, she still doesn't have arms. Okay, so it wasn't that. All right, what else do I have that would be touching vampires? Or because she is a special case. Everybody else works fine, no problem. It's just them. And I'm like, it has to be a vampire thing. What do I have? I don't have anything touching vampires. And it turned out to be this one thing that I was used to give different skin textures to all the races in the game. Imperials had scarred up skin, Nords had really light skin, Orcs were dirty and shit. It was really cool. I was like, this is awesome. That had a special exception for that character to not mess her up. But when I went in, I was like, okay, so what's different about this one and how do I fix it? And it turned out that because the one kid mod that I was using actually changed the race of the kids completely, you had to actually make a special exception. So I had to type in all this stuff to make the exception. And then she had arms again. And it was a glorious day. Yeah, it was good. I mean, today I fixed the thing where I couldn't get the skills menu to stop telling me that I was looking at the destruction skill tree. Like no matter what I did, no matter what skill tree I was looking at, it just kept saying I was looking at the destruction one. And I was like, I don't know what I did to fuck this up, but. And then it turned out I confused. Here, if you want the pettiest shit in the world, Julian, here you go. They're extended UI with UI extensions. Rookie mistake, really. I mean, come on. Who? I had to reinstall like my UI stuff. And I was like, oh, I have UI extended UI. I definitely have that. That's like an essential thing for a bunch of mods. Yeah, let's put that in there. But it didn't mean that. It meant a different thing. And I was like, oh, whoops. And I turned that off. And then I when I reinstalled it, I was like, oh, okay, that was it. Thank God. Okay, good. This is the trials and tribulations you'll run into. Oh, fun thing for this. So if anybody wants to go back a year ago when I was talking about this, you'll remember me mentioning a mod called Northern Roads and me fighting with it tooth and nail to try to get it to work with all the shit I was trying to do. And I remember Julian specifically going, why don't you just not do that? And I was like,
that sounds like something I would say.
Yeah. And I remembered that because it resonated within my soul, Julian. And I was kind of like, when I started this time, I was like, you know what? He's right. Fuck that shit. I'm not doing it this time. And you know what? It's been great. It's been fucking amazing. There's like other shit that you can do to make the roads look pretty cool.
I'm going to isolate that audio and just like put it as a loop.
Oh, Julian was right. Oh, he was. Absolutely. 100%. I've never felt more free. And in fact, at one point, I think I was talking on stream, like the last stream I did, where I was like, man, I got frustrated with something I was doing. I was like, I should try Northern Roads again. I tried it for 10 seconds. I installed it and did a couple other things and did what I normally did. And immediately was just like, this is the most bullshit fucking mod ever. Like, it just breaks everything every time you try to do it. Like, anything cool you want to add, it makes all its own little tweaks to the landscape. And that shit's cool when you're just using it. But when you're using anything else that sounds cool, go fuck yourself. Like, you gotta patch it just perfectly for it to work. And I was just like, I installed it for 2 seconds, ran into like the most giant fucking land seams I've ever seen. I was like, I'm not doing it. I will do this a different way, and I will live with it. And it's been truly freeing. But that's my adventures in Skyrim modding. I'm still fucking around with it. It's something.
The State Select is made possible through the support and funding of viewers like you. Here are our wonderful patrons.
Yeah, I only have 2 more games, but they're short.
Well, before we move on to that,
yeah.
I think it's a good time to thank our lovely patrons this week, Justin.
That sounds good. Let's do that.
Yeah. We appreciate all of our lovely patrons, but every week we like to thank our executive producer tier. And this week we have Addy XD.
We have Big Baker.
We have Bookie.
We have Casey Curran.
We have David Portnov.
We have Dennis Robertson.
We have Eric Peacock. Go listen to Soundtracker.
Indeed. We have Xrian.
We have Game Johnson.
We have Matt Jorgensen.
We have Philip P.K. Becker.
We have Raymond Crum.
We have Stephen Lobo.
We have Xavier Krager.
And I'm going to go ahead and say this because
Okay.
I'm not sure, Justin.
All right.
I think we have a new associate producer tier, or new associate producer
Okay.
named Joshua Moncrief.
Okay.
And I put I think because I didn't get a notification about it.
All right.
And then when I he just showed up, because what I do is before the show I go and look at our list of subscribers and sort them. And it said that so there was two things that were weird. One is that it says that he joined in February, but this month, and then canceled in April. So, sorry to see you go already. But also it says 0 for the payment. But then there's a little gift box next to his tier.
Okay.
So I think someone gifted him a membership, which if so, that's our first gifted membership, which
Okay.
awesome. That's really cool.
Neat.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I just don't know how that works and why it shows no payment or anything like that.
Who knows?
But you're on the list, Joshua. So welcome.
Congratulations. And if you never
Yes.
hear this, I hope you're having a wonderful life.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you do hear this, welcome aboard and hope you like what you hear and check out the stuff that's available to you at the associate producer tier.
Yeah.
But yeah. I guess I'll
go for it.
I'll pop back over to mine real so game
Might as
wise,
well.
I've got other stuff. So I'll say real quick one that I didn't put on the docket that I did want to mention to you because of things.
Mhm.
Because I did play quite a bit of stuff during the break.
Uh-huh.
Actually, I'll just list off what I played during the break.
Okay, go for it.
I'm not going to talk about everything, but so far this year, since we stopped recording, the last episode of the year, I played Sexbot, Closer the Distance,
Okay.
Steps of Debauchery,
Oh,
Crypt
yeah.
Custodian. I finished Indiana Jones. I played Bright Lord,
Mhm.
Milfy City, Fantasian, Me Side or My Side, not really sure.
I think it's my side, but I've never
I think it's supposed to be My Side,
Yeah.
but the character's name is Mita. So
maybe it is. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it could be a play on
It's
that,
hard
on
to
both
say.
things.
Yeah.
Trails of the Sky,
Okay.
Slitterhead,
Yep.
Wanted Dead for the Suffer Select,
Oh God. Yeah.
Alone in the Dark, and Banishers, New Eden.
Right.
So I'm not going to talk about all that stuff. That's ridiculous.
What-
But I did.
What were
Go
your
ahead.
thoughts on Steps of Debauchery, Julian? Real
Pretty
quick.
cool.
It's not bad, right?
Yeah.
It's not bad actually for one of those.
Yeah. I think the writing is decent. I
Yeah.
think the posing is really well done.
I don't.
The
care
models
about that.
are
I was
pretty
just
well
cared
done.
about. I cared about the right. I was like, yeah. It's. But go
Yeah.
ahead.
well, no, but because good writing can be for me it can be lessened when the posing is really bad because I'm so focused on how bad
I
the
can see
posing
that.
is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Some of it's real bad. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
It would have to be phenomenal writing for me to
Yeah. To
see it
be able
past
to ignore
really
it.
terrible
Yeah.
posing.
Yeah, I get it.
Or if the characters have that really terrible 1,000-yard stare or
Oh yeah.
you
You'll
know
have that.
that type of stuff. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
because I'm just oh my god, what is going on with that character?
Mhm.
And then I'm just not focused on the script.
I
at
get
that
it.
Point.
I get it.
But I will talk briefly about Sexbot, which is a lot of it is very bog standard, right?
Yeah.
It's you play a standard nerd,
Mhm.
right down to he's got the thick rim Buddy Holly glasses. He's got the white T-shirt with the bow tie and the pocket protector. It is as bog standard as you can get. He lives with his landlady and his roommates, all of that, very by the numbers. He's in quote unquote college,
Yeah.
the whole 9 yards.
Yep.
But it's genuinely funny, dude.
You mentioned this one to me, and I do remember you
Yes.
saying that. Yeah.
So the setup is that he ends up getting a sex robot, and the cool thing about the sex robot, and I will say so the graphics are pretty good, like the character models are all nice. I don't particularly like the design they went for all of the women, because they're all very super hourglass, they all have
Yeah.
ginormous tits, ginormous ass, and they kind of have that kind of Barbie doll aesthetic to the face, like
God,
old
I know
Barbie
what you're
doll, like
talking
50s
about.
Barbie doll.
Yeah.
Like almost pinup, but not quite. I like a pinup aesthetic. It's just variety of the spice of life, and there's not a lot of that here.
I know I just got done talking about Skyrim mods, but like I have that problem with a lot of like NPC replacers where they do
I can imagine.
that exact look. Like there's one that it's like it's really popular and it's good, but like all the characters kind of look the same when you stop and really look at them. You're like, it's just kind of the same character.
I like some big old titties,
right?
But when every single character has big old titties, it lessens the impact of how big they are.
Yeah.
And some, it's like when you have like a nice variety, it's like, oh, that makes this super busty character like really stand
different.
out.
Yeah,
and,
right.
Yeah,
exactly.
But the cool thing about the sex robot that you get is that she's as horny, if not hornier, than the main character, which makes for like a really interesting relationship between them. And also it's kind of like a quasi female empowerment thing where it really flips a lot of the script on these games.
Yeah.
Where a lot of times it's not the main character being a horn dog and wanting to like, get with everybody. It's the robot who's like, I'm going to get your dick wet. And she's like, don't you want to get your dick wet? And he's like, I mean, I guess. She's like, no, you want to get your dick wet, like that type of thing.
Yeah.
And she's encourageable. And she there's also like you can go however you want with it, like as far as choices, but there's definitely an aspect of her like kind of wanting to top him and be like a really dominant, like a dominant like character in his life and stuff like that. But like it's just, some of the writing is genuinely funny. I know I had told you this off mic, and it's the example I've used for everybody. There's plenty of other stuff, but this is the one that really tickled me, where he invites this real popular girl over who already likes him. He's just not aware that she likes him.
Yeah.
And so she's really excited to come over and watch a movie. And she's like, well, what are we going to watch? And he's like, oh, I thought we could watch Dune. And she's like, oh, great. And he's like, the 1984 one. And she's like, oh, great.
Yeah.
And so they're watching the 1984 Dune, and they're kind of next to each other, but there's like a gap between them.
Yeah.
And the sex robot comes in, and she's like, he's not making a move. Why isn't he making a move? And she's like, I guess I'm just gonna have to do it for him. And she detaches her hand like from her body and has it like kind of thing over like to the couch. And she puts her hand like around the shoulder of the girl, which causes the girl to snuggle up to the guy because she thinks that he's making a move. And so his inner monologue is like, she's getting closer to me. Is she as riveted by David Lynch's like 1984 masterpiece as I am?
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
It's really it's fun.
That does sound good.
And it's a time loop like story, but like they do some really funny stuff with the time loop.
Okay.
And like your friend / nemesis is like I actually renamed him Mandark because he looks like Mandark from Dexter's Lab.
Okay, yeah.
It's got some fun stuff. I think my only complaint is that it like ends on a cliffhanger and then there's a sequel, but it really feels like, from what I've seen of the sequel, like I've seen like some footage from like Patreon builds, and it's like seems like it's the same game, and you just like most games would just have this as the same game type,
Yeah.
It's kind of a bummer.
Weird how prominent sex robots have been today for me. I don't know what the deal is with that. It's weird. We talked about this game. That sounds fun.
Yeah, you need to expand on that now.
Yeah, randomly today I was having a conversation with somebody because the thought entered my brain about that time that Lenny Kravitz wrote the song about a sex robot. That's a
I wasn't aware that he was also down with the sex robots.
That's a song. I don't know if he is or not, but there's definitely a song about a sex robot. It's called Black Velveteen. Look it up. I was because I kept thinking about this one line, so I had to look up all the lyrics for the song because I was like, what did that actually say? And it was weird.
So were you aware it was about a sex robot before you looked up the lyrics?
Pretty much, yes. Like I was like, let me confirm that, because I was like, in my mind, that was what that song was about. And then I looked it up, and then yes, very much so. That is what it was about.
Okay.
And then the line in question was Black Velveteen's cat smells like strawberry kittens. That is not what I thought it said. And I'm not going to tell you what I thought it said. But it was a lot dirtier, and somehow learning the actual lyric did not make it any better. Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty dirty lyric.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's better than what I thought.
Okay.
Yeah. Lenny Kravitz. They made music.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we all have to live with that.
So I guess the big thing that I've been playing that I haven't talked about yet is Banishers: Ghosts of New Eden.
Right.
Which is the action RPG from Don't Nod.
Yeah.
Makers of Life is Strange and but also people may not remember before that they did the like action game Remember Me. And more recently than that, they did the action RPG Vampire, which I own but have not played yet.
Right.
And this definitely, from what I can tell, it's like a much more polished affair than Vampire, which was like fairly janky.
Yeah.
Banishers is like, very gorgeous game, like, runs well, plays well. It's a much bigger game than I was expecting.
Yeah.
Like it's way more Witcher 3 than just the map itself is like a much larger map
It is an
than I
open
thought I was
world
getting
type
into.
of thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it takes place like in the 1600s, and you play Red McWraith, who is a Scottish banisher, with his well, she's not wife, his lover.
Yeah.
Who? Oh, I haven't played in about almost 2 weeks now, so I
forgot
forgot her name
too. I couldn't tell you what her name was either.
Starts with an A, but
that sounds familiar.
she is the senior banisher. She is actually like he's her apprentice,
Right.
but they're also lovers. But you're asked to come to the Americas to help a friend with a banishing.
Oh yeah.
And when you get there, New Eden, which is the settlement, is all sorts of fucked up. And also the friend who summoned you is now dead. And the first like thing that you do is lay his ghost to rest. You banish his ghost. And that's kind of the core thesis of the game, is that what banishers do is they basically go to hauntings and they sort out the haunting, however that may be. And normally it's banishing, which is basically like you're just like casting them into the underworld. Like it's unclear where you're actually sending them, but you can tell it's not a good place.
Right.
The way that they're doing it. You can also like ascend them, which, again, you're not exactly sure where they're going when you do that, but it seems better for them. They're not explicitly saying they're going to heaven or hell, but that's part of the story, is that you're not really sure what you're actually doing to the ghosts, like when you're dealing with them.
Right.
You end up like coming across what's known as a nightmare, and she kills your
girl.
the main. She starts out you start out playing as her. She's like the main character at the first, and then she dies, but you wake up as Red and very quickly find her ghost. And so now it's a matter of like she's with you, but she's like, no, you got to get to my body and banish me. You need the body in order to. Well, that's actually a little bit weird now that I'm thinking about it, because like I've banished somebody that was like killed at sea. So that kind of throws off. But no, I guess what it is. But because I don't have anything tangible to work off of,
but you had
that we need her body. That's what it is. Because I did find something tangible that's like, I forget what they call it. It's like the I think it's the link.
Yeah, that sounds like something it would be.
And so you need that in order to like do the summoning and then decide what to do with that.
That makes sense.
And it's got really interesting writing. I like that it feels set in the time period that it is. Like right off the bat, like when the both of you like show up, like they start addressing Red as the person to talk to, because like he's like this white man and she is a black woman,
right?
And they just assume that she's his servant, and she's like, no, I'm actually the banisher, like you talk to me. And like the way that like kind of women are treated and stuff like that is very in line with the style of the time. And the real cool part of it are like the actual like investigations where someone is haunted,
Mhm.
and you're trying to get to the bottom of the haunting and deciding like what you're going to do with that, because there's 3 things that you can do. You can like I said, you can banish or ascend the ghost, or you can blame the human that's being haunted and actually just fucking kill them.
Mm.
And like the first case that I did, I killed the human because I was like, no, you murdered this person and then
Right.
ate him. Like,
I remember seeing that one now that you mention it. Yeah.
yeah. But I guess if there's one like big problem narratively with the game, and I think I had seen Weston mention this when he was,
Yeah.
I think Weston might have talked about this when he was on, actually.
It was during Game of the Year, I believe, that we were talking about it.
Or was it when he was on like the first
Might
like
have been.
one of his previous, I feel like he talked about it on the show like in one of his like other 2 appearances.
Say what it was, and I'll tell you probably when he did.
You realize that like if you sacrifice enough lives, you can bring your lover back from the dead.
Yes.
But obviously, like, you know, she's like, but not all these people are going to be guilty. Like, we're going to be basically like killing people in cold blood and like covering it up.
Yeah.
Or you can banish her, which is, or banish or ascend her.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, you know, she's a very by the books banisher. So
Yeah.
like it's her wish to be sent on.
Right.
So it's like to me it's like there's really no like point or there's really no decision to be made there unless you're just an asshole.
Yeah.
But also like because you have to do like a majority of them to like for murder to like bring her back.
I
wish that there was
the
more
decision making out of your hands. Yes.
exactly.
This we talked about that during Game of the Year, I believe.
Okay. My thing is that I'm kind of just enjoying like taking each case as they come and deciding based on my feeling about the case.
Yeah.
Like, and those are really cool. I think so I haven't played it in almost 2 weeks, and the reason is the last session that I had, I ended up doing like a bunch of side stuff, and it was like 3 side activities where it was like super combat focused.
Yeah.
And the combat is good. I mean, it has one of my big problems, which is that they went for trigger attacks,
Yeah.
like a Souls game, which this game is not Soulsy.
Yeah.
So like, and it just feels weird. So you have like, you know, your light attack, your heavy attack, you have a dodge, you have a rifle that's like a single shot before you reload.
Okay.
Because,
Yeah.
you know, 1600s.
Mhm.
And then you also can switch to her spectral form,
Right.
and she can do like additional damage to certain types of enemies. And then you start to get abilities where, like, if you do like a perfect switch, where you do like, you know, like a light attack combo, and then like on the 4th attack, you hit her button at the right time, she'll do like an upgraded attack type
Okay.
of thing. So and like there's other abilities you can get where like if you like hit it like right after a parry, she'll switch in for a bigger attack. If you hit it right after a dodge, she'll do like an upgraded attack and stuff like that, which is cool.
Yeah.
Like I think it works well enough. But a lot of the side content was like, you know, super like crazy like combat challenges, and also where it's like you're basically not going to do any damage to this guy unless you do this specific thing.
Yeah.
Which is what problem that I had on some of the side stuff in Suicide Squad.
Right.
Where I think it's good to encourage the player to engage with all of the tools in the toolbox.
Right.
But I think the more fun way to do that is you're going to do base damage if you're just doing your regular shit.
Yeah.
But if you do the fancy stuff, you're going to do huge damage.
Right.
But this is like you're getting penalized like heavily. Like all of a sudden you're doing like 3 hit points per attack on a regular attack.
Right.
But then if you do the real thing, you're doing like 170. So it's like, there's no choice there. It's like, you kind of got to do the other thing.
Yeah.
Especially in situations where the enemies are also regenerating health at a constant
that's
rate.
always fun. Yeah.
And so I did like 3 of those back to back in one evening session. And I was like, okay, so just don't do any of the side stuff that isn't the investigations. Cause like,
Yeah.
you can tell they were really like proud of the combat. And it's perfectly serviceable combat. It's just not the type of game where it's like I can't wait to go and fight some more dudes.
Yeah, it's not Devil May Cry, right? Like, you're like, oh man, that's the whole point of the game. Like, no, it's you're here for mostly the emotional storytelling, but yeah, and that's what you want. But yeah, they kind of, it also feels like it almost maybe. I don't know how you would feel about this. Is it something that would benefit from like maybe the map being smaller? If you got rid of all that stuff, like would that help it or hurt it? You know,
I think it would help it.
Yeah.
Like, so I will say to its credit, it's not like you're getting into fights like every few feet or anything like that. Like there's quite a bit of like just nice, like calm exploration and kind of chatting with each other and kind of taking in the scenery. And it's a very gorgeous game.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, you know, you get to a point where it's like, okay, like, yeah, this is like a kind of a long trek to get to this next like investigation point or whatever. Where I do like, it's one of those things where like when I first opened up the map, I was like, this is going to do the Elden Ring thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then like I got deeper into the game. I was like, yep, there it is.
Yeah.
Yep, this map is like way bigger than it showed me at the beginning.
Yeah.
And it already seemed too big.
Right.
Because I you know, I've seen like on How Long to Beat, it's about like a 40-50 hour game.
Okay.
And I feel that like I would probably like be way more into this at like 20 to 30.
Yeah, it seems like something like this could benefit from that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I do intend to continue with it, but it's a situation where it's like that kind of turned me off from it. And then like this week I haven't played anything.
Yeah.
Other than honestly, mostly what I've been doing is watching everybody at Hollow Live start their new Minecraft server.
Oh, there you go.
But I won't bore you with that.
Okay.
But listeners are like, thank God. But I do want to finish it. But now we're getting to a point where it's like, yeah, but Avowed's coming out real soon.
Yeah.
And then Pirate Yakuza, and then we're kind of in it for the year.
Yeah.
But
I want to play Civilization when it comes out next week or this week for people listening. But yeah, that's when I've been like, yeah, I did stay up once 2 days straight playing that game. Like, no joke, 48 hours of me just sitting there playing fucking Civilization.
No, I believe it.
Yeah.
I posted a HoloLive clip to the Discord because it reminded me of you, because it was Bibu who she'd been doing like 12-hour streams like day after day, and like someone was finally like, hey Bibu, have you eaten today? And she's like, well, I was gonna order something, but then we went on this adventure.
Yeah.
And she's like you, she just locks in and then like forgets about the world.
Yep. Certain things will get me like that. I definitely had that with that Civilization. I told that story to somebody recently because we were talking about games coming out. My friend Lonnie at work, and he was like, yeah, the last Civilization game I stayed up about, I don't know, 48 hours, probably longer than that, playing that game. And he was like, why? Why did you do that? And I was like, listen, it was like one turn kept leading to another turn. It was just like, well, listen, France is going to win with this scientific victory. I can't let it happen. I need to nuke them into oblivion before they can do that. I developed this nuclear program because the guy next to me was fucking with me, and I was going to nuke him off the map. But now I got to turn it on France. Did they do anything wrong? No, but they can't go to space. I can't let that happen. So that's why I stayed up 2 days straight playing that game. Oh man, I hope I get to nuke France again. That's just let me do that and I'll be happy.
Can I make that the title of this episode?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah. Why not? I hope I get to nuke France again. That's good. I like it. Oh man. That was my favorite thing I did in that game. 100%. I turned France into a nuclear fucking wasteland. Like it was gone. And then I just scraped up the remains of their territory like afterwards, just by force. And like the guy that kept fucking with me all game, like he just kept declaring war on me and coming in, and I'd have to fight him off every like X amount of turns. and he was annoying as shit. As soon as I dropped a nuke on France, he was like, yo, I'm out. Like, I get it. I'm like, all right. And then I won. It was fun.
It's just like Anthony Stark used to say, or no, sorry, it's like Tony Stark said. The best weapon is the weapon you only have to fire once.
Yeah, I mean, basically, yeah, pretty much. Oh man, yep. Civ 6 or Civ 7 or what? Yeah, 7. We're on 7. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Anyway,
divisive on reviews so far,
Has
which
it
I
been?
found
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
yeah.
Like a lot of like big praise, but then like some surprisingly low numbers, and then like some middling ones. But
Civ is always a weird one, I think, because a lot of people were like that on 6, and that was the one I played, and I liked it. But I think you're like the first one you play. It seems like the first one you play is always your favorite, and that's the one you compare it to a lot of the time.
probably
It's one of those types of things, because I know like a lot of people are like really into 5, and that's the one they play, and like so it's tough to say.
Going back to the Skyrim conversation, right? Like, there's no way that Elder Scrolls 6 does the numbers that Skyrim does. Like that was kind of like this lightning in a bottle scenario. Like, I think it's going to do very, very well.
Yeah.
But you can't predict when people are just going to continue to play and rebuy a game for a decade, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's just kind of once in a franchise type thing.
Yeah, and then you have this whole other community over here that's like randomly keeping it alive, and then and it's a whole thing. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to say how that's all going to go down. I'm guessing the next one will be in Hammerfell, but like that'll be interesting. But I don't know. It's going to be such a high bar. People are going to have such insane expectations of that game because of how long it's been since they said really anything about it. So yeah, it's gonna be nuts. What else was there?
That's it. I have game wise, and I got a couple other just like bits.
Okay,
and bobs
I kind of got bits and bobs myself. I most of this was stream stuff that people can go watch if they want to, but I'll expand upon it here, I guess. I played a little bit of Dynasty Warriors Origins, which is good. That game's pretty good.
I liked what I saw on that stream.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I as somebody who's played a decent amount of them, I haven't played like all of them, but I played my fair share of those games and usually find some level of enjoyment from them. This was by far like the best feeling one of those, like for sure. Like it felt like an actual video game. Not that the other ones don't feel like video games, but like it felt like a up to date one, I'd say. Like it didn't feel like you were playing a PlayStation 2 era video game. It played more modern like, and like I like the idea of like, hey, what if the final level was the first level of all the other ones and stuff like that? I was immediately seeing where they were going with it, and I was like, yeah, sure, why not? You can do that. That sounds fun. Lubu's the last boss, I imagine. I'm sitting here going over in my head how this is all gonna play out. Lubu, for those that don't know, is fun because I remember my fondest memory of Dynasty Warriors was the first one I ever played, which I think was a PlayStation 2 one, and I can't remember what number it was. But like, you get to the Yellow Turban Rebellion, it's the first stage, and you're like manhandling everyone, no problem. And then suddenly somebody yells, "It's Lubu! We gotta run! We gotta run!" And I'm like, "Fuck! Who cares about it? Let's just go fight him! Like, what could go wrong?" And then he just demolishes you. Because he's like you can't do. I think you can actually beat him. I think I've done it before, but like it's not really worth it. And I was like, oh, Lubu is scary. Okay, got it. Stay away from Lubu. He ain't fucking around. But yeah, so he's legendary in that aspect, I guess. But anyway, you play as Kyle. He's a Dynasty Warriors boy. Very handsome.
You played as Kyle. You could name him whatever you
can
want.
name him whatever you want. Yeah, it's not bad. It's got this little open world thing, but other like they do like little random encounters and stuff that are pretty quick paced for the most part, and like it's got a good clip to it. I think it's a good foundation for where they might want to take those games in the future. It's definitely more promising than 9. Like 9 was a fucking mess. That game is bad. And that's like a suffer select type of fucking game right there. I bought it on sale for that reason, because like someday somebody's gonna make me play Dynasty Warriors 9. And I'm probably not gonna have a great time doing it, but who knows? But like it's and I was telling Julian this because he asked me like, should I pick that up? And I was like, well, let me put it like this. I played the 2 hours on stream and I liked what I played, but I don't know if I'm like gonna go back to it. And I think
that's said enough for me.
Yeah, like it's not bad at all. It's a great foundation for stuff, and I think it's overall very good. But like the ones, the Dynasty Warriors games that I always like got into were the Empires ones, and those like turn it into like almost like a board game, and like you have like marriages and people are having kids and you're playing as the kids and doing all this crazy, and it fucking goes nuts. Like and like you can create characters and all this shit, and like that was the first thing I think I said. I was like, I wish you could just make a guy. Like why do I gotta play as Kyle? Why can't I just play as somebody else? Like I just let me make a dude. Like he's a speechless protagonist. Why can't I? And I feel like that might have been the plan at some point, and then they just kind of went, let's not do it for whatever reason. It's probably too much for us to implement right now. People will be fine with playing as Kyle, and I guess that's true. But I would like something more personally. So I kind of checked out after the stream, but not a bad game. Not a bad game at all.
I gotta say, I really love the fact that they did like an old school RPG overworld for it, as far as exploring the map. And I don't know if you saw that Xbox Direct, but Expedition 33 also has an overworld map that they did. And then like between those games and then like the fact that like Lunar's coming back this year and Suikoden's coming back this year, I kind of hope that it's going to introduce like a whole new generation to the concept of RPGs used to feel really massive because like the world made you, because they would make you smaller on the map, but it felt like you were exploring a vast expanse, right? And maybe that'll start to become in vogue again, because like I've really missed that.
But somehow like didn't make it feel like overwhelming at the same time. Like like you were it felt like you were traveling a great distance, but it felt like simulated in a nice way too. You know what I mean? Like it was there's something about that look that I always loved. And I remember that being like one of my big turnoffs of Final Fantasy X when they got rid of that stuff. Because I was just like really bummed by that for whatever. I was like, I agree.
Like I miss like getting into an airship and getting to explore the world from the air. Like
that stuff was great.
When 16 was coming out, and I was like, it is coming out for PS5, which with like the new like hard drive speed loading and stuff like that. So like, no, we can finally like get in an airship again and really like explore this world from like and it's like, oh no, not only do you not get to do that, but we're gonna like jerk you around about the airship.
But anyway, that's Dynasty Warriors Origins. The other thing that I can think of that I played off the top of my head, other than Gotham Knights, which is, still a video game you can play, is they re-released The Sims 1 and 2, Julian.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Nimi Nightmare, who is the former or the new persona of the former Fauna from HoloLive, she's a big Sims fan and she was like super stoked. And then I kind of saw some clips of her stream. It's like, it seems like that game's not working too well. And then I watched some of yours. It's like, it seems like that game's really not working too well.
It definitely crashed on me. I didn't play it for very long, but like, the Sims 1 was like crashing a little bit. And Yeah, seems kind of weird for a game that old to start doing stuff like that. I don't know why, unless they just did a straight hey, we got it working again, and here it is.
I think that's kind of what
That's
they did.
kinda
I mean,
what it
to
feels
their
like.
credit, it was kind of a shadow drop to begin with, and and it does seem like they're working on it. I've heard stories about they're trying to get it patched and everything like that.
Yeah.
I thought I was like, that's really cool. The only Sims that I've played for any extended length of time was the original game.
Yeah.
And I remembered like stopping because I was like, all this character does, and I named him after me.
Yeah.
And I was like, all he does is get up, go to work, go home, eat, and go to bed. And I was like, that's my actual life.
Yeah.
Because this is back when I was working at Game Fellas,
Right.
when I was like, that's kind of all I was doing.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, this is feeling a little too close to home.
Yeah.
Because there was also like no weekends in that game.
No, there was not. And The Sims 1, like, was you didn't have to cheat at the game, right? But you kind of had to cheat at the game to make it really fun, to where you like, yeah, I don't have to go to work because I can just give myself all this money and do stuff and like go out and kind of like build my house and do all this stuff, because that's what I did when I was younger, when that game came out in the year 2000. Which made me, I was like, man, this game came out in the year 2000. God, I'm old.
In the year 2000.
And I even remember that bit. Oh man.
Oh, you better. Like, I'd be upset if you didn't know
No,
that
I
bit.
do. Oh, I loved that
Yeah.
bit. That was one of my oh man, I loved that Conan bit. But yeah. But Sims 1, it's still the Sims 1. It's fine. It adds a lot of the at least the releases had like a lot of like the DLC, or not the DLC. There was no DLC back then. It was like the add-ons or whatever that you could add, which was stuff that I couldn't afford, because
I saw you very excited when you saw the cat or the dog.
Yeah, there
I
was
forget
like,
which one.
holy shit, there's I could there's pets now. Oh my god, that's crazy. Like, cuz like my memory of those games was, and I said this on stream, but they were the first games that I really messed around with, like modding a video game ever. Like, that's probably the start of like that sort of addiction. And all there was for Sims 1 mods was like, hey, we made this celebrity. Here they are. So those were the mods. You downloaded them because you were like, well, I need more people. So I guess Britney Spears, come on in. Let's fucking do this, All the members of NSYNC, why not? We're here. That'll just be Jim. Don't worry about it. But yeah, like that was the mods for that game. So it was neat to go back to, and then I think it crashed on me, and I was like, okay, let's switch over to Sims 2, which is one I never owned the PC one for that. I played it on console, I think, a little bit, but not very much. And Sims 2 is pretty neat. Like, I'm like, I can see why people swear by this one. At least, for a while. 3 is like the undisputed, like, people love this one.
Which is interesting, because I remember when Sims 3 came out and people didn't like it.
Yeah, exactly. But now
it's also the civilization thing,
yes.
right? Like, very much, because I know then Sims 4 came out and people didn't like that one, but now there's like a whole generation of people who like love Sims 4.
Yes and no. There's a lot of people that Sims 4 is the only one that they know, and sometimes they go.
Well, that's what I mean.
I've noticed
Yeah.
a lot of people go back to play some of the older ones and go like, "Oh, I see why people don't like Sims 4." Actually, like especially 3, because like 3, especially like you're right. When it came out, people were pretty lukewarm on it, but as it added all the, its DLC and added all the systems that it eventually ended up with, like people really came around to it, and became kind of a staple. Where 4 is still kind of messy in a lot of that stuff, and like they add things so slowly that like sometimes you download a whole add-on and you're just like, all right, I guess that's doing something. I don't really know.
Which one are you playing when you're doing all the modding? Is it 3 or 4?
Usually it's 4. And
okay, that's the one that you played on stream.
Yeah, Sims 4 modding's pretty breezy for the most part. Like that shit's nothing. But you basically you're doing honestly, modding Cyberpunk felt like modding The Sims, because I was just like, yeah, all I'm doing is like adding clothes. Like, I don't know, that's fine, that's fun, I like doing that, I'll do that all day. But Yeah, Sims 2, I only played it pretty briefly. But I was like, yeah, no, this is pretty cool. I definitely got a copyright strike because Chiodos came on. I was really amped when that came on too. I was like, oh shit, that's Chiodos. I know that song. That's great. And then I was immediately like, oh right, I'm on stream right now. I should probably turn that the fuck off, huh? Well, I didn't get it. You can still look at the video. It's fine. They were like, it's fine for YouTube. Don't worry about it. And I was like, cool. Thanks, Craig Owens. You the man. Anyway, those games are fun. I hope they patch them and fix them a little bit more. I'm just glad they're there. You know?
Yeah, I think that's my thing for a lot of stuff like that. You know, it's why I keep there's been that rumor of that Final Fantasy IX remake forever, and I'm like, it's playable in each HD on current systems. I don't need and the thing on that one in particular is that the translation was great. So I don't need don't touch it. Like the reason I wanted Final Fantasy VII, well, I didn't want Final Fantasy VII to be remade. All I wanted for Final Fantasy VII was a new translation, and I still want that. Yeah, I wish that they would go in and patch like the HD version with like a brand new translation, and that would solve all my problems.
Sure.
8 is probably the only one that I would really entertain. Like, you should probably remake that game because that game feels so unfinished story-wise.
Yes, that game feels like chapters and chapters of it are just gone and missing.
Yes.
It's very all over the place and weird and kind of like it when it goes like quote disc 3 crazy, it kind of like you feel like you missed a ton of stuff. Like you're like, what is happening actually here? It's not
as egregious as like Xenogears Disc 2.
No,
but it feels close to that.
But yeah, it feels like we things were edited for time. Like like this thing that should have been a lot more is suddenly an email, and here we are. You know, and yeah, I would love an 8 remake. That would be interesting. But at the same time, 8's not very popular. So
yeah. I mean, I get why they remade Final Fantasy VII, but like. But my thing more is just like I just want to be able to like bring these games into
I get it,
like the modern era.
Honestly, I would have if you put the 7 remake coat of paint on just the original 7, just kept all the mechanics the same and did all that stuff, dude, I'd be so fucking into that. Like I think
that's kind of what that mobile game Ever Crisis almost is, and I wish that like it wasn't like loaded up with like free to play gross
it's
shit.
That one is weird. I looked into that. I think it's on Steam actually. And it's weird. But yeah. Actually, now I'm gonna look this up because I can't remember.
Speaking of that, when I was over at John's house, he showed me this like Star Trek like RPG that he's playing on the Xbox that is as mobile as game as shit as I've ever seen, except for the fact that like it has no microtransactions. So it looks like somehow it was like a former mobile game that didn't do well as free to play, and then they just took all the free to play elements out of it and released it on the Xbox for like a fee. But like everything from like the graphics to like the interface to the mission structure is all like super free to play mobile shit, and it's weird.
That sounds weird. Yeah, I'm sitting here looking at Ever Crisis, and it is man, it's so strange because like you look at the opening trailer of it, and it is like very clearly prequel. Because it's like this is Sephiroth before he became Sephiroth, and stuff
because they rolled in like Crisis Core into there,
and then there's like, but then it gets to like actual parts from Final Fantasy VII, and you're like, oh, it looks pretty good, but like it's still like looks older, but like in a kind of a neat way.
Well, yeah, because they did like updated chibi graphics, which I really appreciate.
It's
like,
cool.
and then the battles are using the character models from Remake, and it's like that's actually pretty
that's
spiffy.
A neat way to go. Yeah, I agree.
And it's pseudo turn-based, but it's not like the depth of the actual game.
Right.
It's like you're just like, tapping the screen for things. And it's like, man, if it just played like Final Fantasy VII, I'd be so in.
Yeah, and then you get down here to the review section, and it's like, oh yeah, gotcha shit and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay, no, I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I see why I passed on that a few times.
But that's closer to what I would have wanted in a Final Fantasy VII remake than what Final Fantasy VII remake actually is.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. I I can agree with that pretty
Yeah.
wholeheartedly. Like I said, I would just want the models and stuff from that game, just and update the script and expand on maybe a few things here and there or something, and we're good to go. That'd be great. But yeah, they didn't do that.
Yeah.
Oh well.
I mean, I'm excited for Lunar. I'm waiting. They're supposed to be announcing a physical release, and so I'm waiting to see what that's going to be. It sounds like it's probably going to be through limited run, which fucking sucks because that means I'll be playing it next year.
Yeah.
But I really want a physical copy. Like the idea of having Lunar 1 and 2 and Suikoden 1 and 2 on my PlayStation 5 shelf is very exciting to me.
That is cool.
Oh, and also Dragon Quest 3, like
right.
Oh, and then later on Dragon Quest 1 and 2 also, like that's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the thing that I understand. Like people really love that about the Switch, right? Like the Switch got a lot of re-releases of classic RPGs, and it's like, yeah, it's cool to have all those like on, your Switch shelf.
Absolutely. That's pretty much it for what I've been doing, Julian. I got nothing.
Yeah. I've got some like non-game related stuff that I wanted to touch up real quick. I thought I'd do a Berserk update.
Oh yeah, how's it going?
So I got to the end of volume 4 of the hardcover.
Okay.
And I was so fucking pissed that I don't have volume 5.
Yeah.
Like I'm in now.
Where does that end? If you don't mind my asking.
Griffith is about to, like, he just made the vow.
Oh, okay.
But you don't get to see what happens from that.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, God damn it. Like,
oh yeah, that's a hell of a cliffhanger.
He gets like, absorbed into the cocoon, and like, there's all the monsters everywhere, and the God Hand is there, and like Guts is like, there's no way that he would ever say that, and then it's like, oh, I need to see what. Oh God, yeah, I want to see what's next.
Oh, okay. So Guts hasn't gotten the brand yet, is what you're saying?
Like, so everybody got branded.
Okay, all right. Okay, we're there.
Yeah.
Okay, that is where the anime ends.
No way.
Yes.
Oh shit, dude. Okay, so you don't know what comes after that either.
I have no idea. So everything
Awesome.
after, yeah, that's why I asked. I was like, okay, I bet money it's. Can you see why I've been like went nuts about that for years? Because I was like,
no,
where's
that's a
season 2?
terrible place for that anime to end.
Like it ends at the worst. You're like, okay, so there's another season to this. Like this keeps going, right? Like,
yeah.
And then no, it's in manga form, and I couldn't like find that where I lived for the longest time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was just shit out of luck. Oh,
I'm also
man.
getting a little worried. I didn't think about this until just now. So I was listening to the Comic Conspiracy podcast this week, and I don't know if you had heard, but Diamond Comics, who used to be like the comic distributor, filed for bankruptcy.
I actually did hear about that. Yeah.
And so Ryan, he owns a comic book store, and so he went into depth about it. And apparently, like, because of the way that Diamond had been operating for decades, this doesn't just pose a problem for Diamond distributing. It could potentially bring down a large swath of the comic book industry,
interesting,
including a lot of comic book stores, because Diamond allowed a lot of places to run on credit and like just rack up debt.
Yeah,
and so if they start to call in all of those debts and stuff like that, a lot of stores will just like fold.
Yeah,
right. But there's also like a lot of like smaller end publishers that only deal through Diamond, like IDW and Boom and Dynamite. But also apparently Dark Horse, and I didn't realize this either. Dark Horse is owned currently by Embracer Group.
Oh, really?
So like there's a lot of reasons why I feel compelled to like step it up on getting these Berserk volumes while I still can.
I think I may need to just go ahead and order all of them.
But they are pricey.
They are, but at the same time, I think I may just need to go ahead and order all of them.
Right?
Yeah.
There's 14 of them.
Yeah.
And
I know.
I'm on 4.
I have the 3. I have the first 3, And I was like, oh, I'm just going to get them as I go, and I'll stop there. But now that you mentioned that, I'm like, okay, yeah, I might have to pull the trigger. I might do that actually when we stop recording here. And I'm like, all right, yeah, where am I going to put them? I don't fucking know, but we'll figure something out for a little bit. Because, now you're making me nervous about that. Because that's one of those things.
I just thought about that just now. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Because I've also, one thing that I've been trying to get is the rest of phase 2 of the IDW Transformers in hardcover.
Mm-hmm.
And they're already out of print. And like one of the volumes was like going for like $1,000 on Amazon. And I was like, fuck you.
Yeah.
But I've been trying to like get those slowly, but it's like, those are already out of print. And like, especially if IDW goes under, there's like no chance of those getting reprinted. Because I think, I could see a scenario where like even if they don't have the license, they could work out a deal to like put those back in print, on a long enough timeline, but not if the company is gone also. So because the IDW Transformers is my favorite iteration of Transformers, full stop.
Gotcha.
And I didn't finish it. I did because like that was I think that was around the time when the pandemic started, and I kind of stopped buying my floppies because one, I wasn't going to go to the comic book store, and then two, like the prices just got so crazy that I was like, I can't really justify this anymore. So I got out of it. But like excellent characterization and additions to the lore and stuff like that.
Yeah. I wish my friend Lonnie was here because that man loves Transformers and comic books about Transformers. It is one of his favorites. He loves that shit. So
like that's, I think people sometimes wonder why I'm so invested in what younger people, I think, wonder why I'm so invested in like Transformers if I don't like the movies. Right. Mm-hmm. Because that's kind of all that they really know.
Yeah.
But the lore and they'll see like the Generation 1 cartoon and be like, this is cheesy as shit. Like why is this the thing? It's like, no, yeah, the cartoon like was great at the time when I was a kid.
Yes.
But it's the comics, like starting even going back as far as the original Marvel comics that were adding to that lore and fleshing out those characters and making the impact. Even though the Marvel comics still had to be introducing new characters from the toy line as they came out, they still did it in ways that made sense in the lore and everything. And then you get into like the Dreamwave stuff. That was like the first like big return of Transformers, and they did cool stuff. But it was really the IDW where it was like, I will always go back and say the first 2 arcs of the IDW comic is the perfect way to adapt Transformers into a movie.
Oh, there you go.
It's centered on some humans. It's centered on these teenagers. The first robot that they meet is Ratchet.
Okay.
It does a really good job of explaining why these robots are in disguise. Like it's actually part of the way that they do war. So like the Decepticons will find a planet that is just tech savvy enough, and then insinuate themselves into the power structure and start to manipulate. Like they'll find certain people in power and say like, yo, we're here on your planet. Yeah. But if you keep things on the down low, like we're going to make it really good for you, but we want something from you in return.
Right.
And so they'll just kind of insinuate themselves into like the backbone of a society and kind of take it over from within. And then once they've gotten to a certain point, they kick off the next phase. They literally call it a phase where they transform, like we're here now, we're taking over your planet.
Right.
Fuck you. And so the way that like the first IDW arc starts is that Starscream is stationed on Earth and he kicks off phase 2 ahead of time. And so like the way that the last issue of the first arc ends is Megatron showing up via Space Bridge and he's pissed.
Right. That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really good. And yeah, it's like a perfect like introduction to Transformers for like a modern day.
Yeah, it sounds cool. Yeah, that sounds real cool.
So that's Berserk.
Yeah.
I'm so in. Like I need to see what happens next because like I still don't actually know. Like I know that Griffith is considered one of the greatest like villains in like fiction.
Yeah, I don't
know why yet.
I don't know like where it goes from there. It's like you know as much as I do now. So if not, maybe even more. Because
did you get to, well, you saw it in the anime because like Yeah, he's like imprisoned for like a year.
Yes.
And so like
he has. It's a whole thing that like
Yeah.
he is basically like mentally and physically broken down piece by
Yes.
piece, and like that's kind of the way out for them.
Right.
But from there, I don't know where it goes.
Right. And the only thing that I know is that I've heard like, Wooly and Eye Patch Wolf talk about it on Versus Wolf.
Right.
So but at the time I didn't know what they were, I just got little bits and pieces. But they were talking about, and I think I've mentioned it to you, that older guy who has been reading the Berserk, and like his daughter like films TikToks of him talking about him reading, like his thoughts on when he finishes a volume.
Okay.
And so he starts off by calling, he said he really loves Griffith. He calls him like our friend Griffith. He's like, I can't wait to see what happens with our friend Griffith, like next volume or whatever.
Yeah.
But then at a certain point, like she's filming him and he's like, Griffith, may his name die in infamy, or something like that. Like his name be forgotten for all time.
Yeah.
And he's just like so dramatic about it, like, shit, I need to see what happens with Griffith.
Right. Yeah.
But the last thing that I've got is just this isn't for you. It's more of like for listeners. Like people see me gushing in the Discord, but like not everybody's on the Discord. There's a new show that started on Hulu called Paradise.
Okay.
And I don't want to oversell it, but when I finished the first episode, it gave me the same feeling that I had when I finished the miniseries of Battlestar Galactica, or the first episode of Lost, or the first episode of Heroes. Like, just, I cannot fucking wait to see what's happening in this next episode type of thing.
Okay.
So, and I am going to actually spoil like the ending reveal of the first episode for you and for listeners. So if anybody wants to go, first I'll just give like a basic, and then I'll tell you what I'm going to spoil. So then if you don't want any spoilers, you can just fast forward a couple minutes.
Yeah.
So the basic setup, Justin, is it's centered on so it's Sterling K. Brown is the main character. You probably haven't seen him in anything, but listeners will probably know him best as Killmonger's father in the Black Panther movie.
Sure.
I know him from some other movies, but I'm not remembering what I remember him from. I've always loved him every time that I see him. He's got like a really understated performance. He's like very low key, but with like this intensity behind it that like you could feel like he could just like pop off at any moment, but he's also just like very like gentle. It's a very interesting acting thing, but I love him. So he's a Secret Service agent, and he actually the show starts with him getting assigned to like the head of the president's detail, and the president has just started his second term, right? And so he's just like, like I'm basically just like 4 years away from getting to just like kick back, and because he's also a young president. He's played by James Marsden, who played Cyclops in the X-Men movies.
Okay, yeah.
So he's like, I'm I just got to make it through these next 4 years, and then I basically just get to kick back, like in a mansion somewhere, and like I'm looking for someone to like take care of me for this time, and hell, maybe even like during my retirement years, like know, and I think you're the guy, right? And then it flashes, that's like in the past, and then it flashes to present day where the president is dead on the floor in his bedroom.
Oh, good.
And the last person to see him alive is Sterling K. Brown's character. He saw him like the night before, and oh no, like the security cameras were turned off like during like a large window overnight.
Yeah.
And also you start to find out that Sterling K. Brown might have had a reason, like a motive, right? And so like there's this mystery of like, what happened to the president, right? But here's the kicker. And so listeners, if you don't want any spoilers whatsoever, this is where you want to move forward a couple minutes. So I'm going to give you a couple seconds to hit your player or whatever. So the thing that clinched me, Justin, the thing that like I was like 100% sold.
Okay.
Is he's like trying to figure out what happened, and they're trying to keep it all like contained. They don't want to let the public know for obvious reasons yet. And he has like, he's gone home, he's changed clothes, he's going for a jog, and like he looks at a sign. There's like a billboard, or not a billboard. It's just like a sign, but it's like a digital sign.
Okay.
And it says, maintenance being done on the sun. Sunset will be 2 hours late. And he looks up, and you realize that like they're actually living in a mountain or under a mountain in Colorado because something happened to the world, and it's bad out there, Justin. It's real bad out there. And so it's a very small amount of people living in this idyllic, like Anytown, USA. Like it is like the epitome of, you know, the white picket fences, and you know it is like the stereotypical like suburban life of Americana, and they're living underground, and it's like, whoa, what's going on? And they're like 3 episodes in so far, and I'm so loving it. It's so cool. Good.
Yeah, sounds good. That's good.
So I highly recommend checking that out if you guys have Hulu. But that's all I got.
Yeah, that's all I got too.
So I think we will close out with some comments, questions, and concerns.
All right.
Or CQC. There's many ways that you can get at us. You can, you know what? I'm not even going to say the Twitter anymore. The best ways is via email. The email is thestageselectpod@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
If you're on Patreon, either as a member or just like a free tier, you can comment on the episodes and we'll read those. And also there is a comments, questions, concerns tab in our Discord.
Yep.
So if you join our Discord, the link is in the show notes with our link tree. We're not going to do everything because we've stacked up quite a bit since we went on hiatus, but we will catch up on some of these things.
There you go.
Let's see. Do I want to?
I don't know what you want. You
I don't know what I want either.
You have to tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry.
Okay, we're so far back. I'm not going to go through all of the comments on like the individual episodes while we were on break.
Okay.
They were basically just you know, general like good show guys, like that type of thing. So nothing particularly pressing as far as like, oh, you got this wrong, or there's this addition to
I get a lot of things
something
wrong.
that you said.
Yeah.
So I will start off with Discord. And so the funny thing is, and this is what happens when you don't follow instructions. Xavier is what I have from Xavier, and we're not like, I don't know if we'll go through all of these right now. I might like save some for later, but he has a few for the Patreon special, the AMA, which, you know, but that I asked them to be put into the thing on Patreon so that I could easily see them in one place.
That's fair
to look at there. So I did not actually see these, like, you know, when it was time to record.
So now is the time for those, I guess.
Now is the time for these. Yeah,
okay,
it's fine.
Why not?
He's got 8 here, so we'll do like we'll kind of split these up over the next few weeks.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, because we've got other people with some other questions.
Okay, excellent.
He says, completely taking realism out of it, who would a top tier dream guest be?
Hold on. Quad City DJs for me. 100%. I had man, who else did I have? I really want to talk to the Quad City DJs though.
Yeah.
Liam Lynch is a dream guest for me.
Who's Liam Lynch?
Yeah. Who are they? They are they are the guy behind Sipple and Ollie.
Okay.
Which is very formative.
A big inspiration.
Very formative for me.
Yes.
And they did at one point I learned that they did something around, I want to say like 2012, 2011, where they brought it back to do video game reviews. And I was like, that's great. I really want to talk to that guy. Realism out of it, who would be a dream guest to have on here? I don't even know. I'll talk to anybody. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. I mean, like my pie in the sky ones that I think are not doable. Like the pie in the sky one that I think is like no shot in hell is Dennis Dyack from Silicon Knights.
Oh yeah.
because I can't like he's not even like on social media anymore.
Yeah.
So I don't even know how I would like get like he's on LinkedIn. That's it.
Great.
Like he kind of completely left the industry, and like my thing is that like I don't want to do a hit piece. I don't want to like talk about like the bad times of Silicon Knights or like any of the controversies.
Yeah.
What I really want to talk, because one, I'm a fan of old Silicon Knights.
Yeah.
But he used to come on to the One Up Show, or not the One Up Show, the One Up podcast, where they changed the name like a bunch of times. Yeah. It used to be, I think the first one was One Up Yours. And they would always make fun of him because he was talking about like a lot of like out there shit. Like he always talked about like the one console future and like stuff like that. And I would love to pick his brain about like, yo, how does it feel to basically have like predicted the future? Because like we're kind of almost there. Yeah. Right. Like you just have to look at like Xbox's strategy, and it's like that's kind of where they're going. Yeah. Right. But also he just like had a lot of really interesting things to say. And also I would love to hear about like the rise of Silicon Knights, because like it's a fascinating development house to me. Like I love so much of like the early stuff, and I wouldn't want to talk about the downfall. Like I would like to write a book about the rise and fall of Silicon Knights one day. Right. But I would like to just kind of talk to him about like, yo, what was it like in the beginning? And like, you know, like, what do you think about the industry today? And that type of stuff. Cause I just think he's a very interesting person.
For sure.
That's like the one that I think I could never get. There's one, well, actually, and then I guess there's like right along there, because I wouldn't even know where to begin. I would love to get some HoloLive people on. I would love to be able to get Cecilia Immergreen and Gigi on at the same time, because I've told this to you before, but like there's so much us in like anime girl form, like just like the way that they go about bits and shtick, and like the way they play off of each other. Like really good example is Cecilia was playing The Last Story on the Wii. Yeah. And she noticed that like there's like these hanging signs in front of shops that have physics, and if you run by them, the character actually like does a head plant and actually has like reacts to it and like, you know, jerks back to it. And she was like, hold on a second. And like she rigged it up to where when people would pay for a super chat, she would get hit in the head with an animated sign. Okay. And like, so she got hit in the head like 500 times in the course of that stream. That's the type of shit that she does. And it's like, it's amazing. So like, I would love to talk to someone like that. And then right below that is, because I just, you know, it's so hard to get through the noise and everything. I would love to get like anybody from Nextlander. Yeah, there you go. Like, preferably all of them, but even if it was just one or two, like I would love to talk to those guys.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah. But those are like, that I think is more attainable, because I think it's just a matter of like hitting their email at the time where they actually see it, and then they're like, yeah, like, you know,
sure, why not?
Alex has time to come on or whatever. Like, but they're also like pretty shy. Like they don't really get on social media much anymore. Yeah. Either. So it's kind of hard.
I don't either.
Well, yeah.
Let's see who else. Julian's thinking of serious things, and I'm like, what if we got Hideo Kojima's translator? Just the translator. That's all I want.
I think that would be awesome.
That would be great.
I would love to talk to that guy.
That'd be good. I want to know what it's like to hang out with that guy and translate for Kojima at all times. Like, I'm like, is it 1-to-1? Or are you kind of like sifting through a lot of stuff when you translate? I want to know. Yeah. I want to know the ins and outs. Oh, that. And
I'm curious about like what Kojima, because like he hangs out with a lot of people that speak English,
right?
And so my theory is that he actually understands English, and I wouldn't be surprised if he actually is speaking English when he's just like hanging out, but he's not confident enough in his English
enough with
on
it.
stage,
right? Which makes sense. I'm curious. You know, like there's a lot of things I would be dying to find out, but I love Hideo Kojima's translator. That guy makes me laugh. He's great. I can't think of any other joke answers.
Oh, and then my other thing, but see, the thing is that I do plan on swinging for the fences on this show, but like I want to get voice actors on here.
That'd be fun.
I want to talk to Ben Starr. I want to talk to Kaiji Tang. I want to talk to Amelia Tyler. Like I want to get somebody of that caliber. I want to talk to voice actors who are actually like into games.
Right.
That's kind of the big thing is I'm not really interested in talking to like a David Hayter or a like a Nolan North,
right?
Because like they're just like capital A actors.
Yes.
Where like Ben Starr is like in it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he fucking loves video games. It's like he would be fun to
yeah,
talk
absolutely.
to. Same thing with like certain pro wrestlers. Like I
yes, that was the one I was thinking. I would love to talk to Kenny Omega on here.
Yeah.
He's not only my favorite wrestler, but like he loves video games. Like
Yes.
he's real into that stuff. Like I mean, he was putting out like top 10s and stuff for Giant Bomb, wasn't he? Like at some point.
Oh yeah. And he was on like, I don't know if you ever saw the
whole
After Dark thing.
Yeah.
That was great.
Oh, yeah, it was great. Yeah, so I would love to get that. Like that would be great.
I regret not keeping in touch with Keith Lee because we were like Facebook friends and we were also mutuals on Twitter. And when he hit WWE, I had mentioned like, man, I want to get you on our show, but like, you know, and he was like, well, you have to like kind of talk to like.
I remember this.
them.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, they're probably not going to agree. He's like, well, you don't know if you don't ask, and I never asked.
Yeah.
And then when he went, when he left WWE, I was like, man, I should really like hit him up again. I just didn't think about it. And then I stopped using Facebook altogether. And
yeah.
I know we're no longer mutuals on Twitter. I think he did a big purge. But yeah, because like he's another one who like he's a big old geek and he loves video games and like he, you know, and I know him win.
Yeah,
like, I was there when he was coming up on the indies.
Right,
so like, you know, I have a lot of pictures with me and Keith Lee when he was on the indie circuit.
Oh yeah.
But that would have been that I regret not like kind of keeping that relationship and kind of pursuing a little bit more. Same thing with like Matthew Palmer, who is Athena's husband.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Because one, Matthew Palmer is an awesome indie wrestler and he's a big old geek. And two, Athena is also a big old geek.
Yeah, they are.
And he's married to her. So it would have been like a nice, like, could have gotten both of them at some point.
Yeah.
Probably. If I'd kind of kept up on that stuff. I was like right on the cusp of becoming friends with a bunch of like pro wrestlers. I just kind of didn't take the extra step to like.
Who hasn't been there, Julian?
Oh, yeah. You know. Xavier's number 2 question. If you had to make a podcast for a year about something not video game related, what would the topic be?
Oh, I
mean, you've got a shit ton.
Yeah, I still want to do, and I really do want to do the ranking of songs podcast. I really want to do it.
Yeah, you and your sister were going to do that.
We started it, and I re-recorded a couple episodes, and then it wasn't coming together the way I wanted it to, because it got what I immediately noticed is I'm usually like I usually like a podcast where it's just like me and one other person maybe, and then you know you have guests on or whatever. But immediately for something like that, I was like, we kind of need a third voice somewhere, because like her and I will either hard disagree on something, and then it gets really hard to rank anything. And or it's just like super like way too easy. Like at one point we did an episode on a song that what was the song? It was Hair of the Dog by Nazareth, which is a fucking terrible piece of music. And we were like, what are we supposed to, I was like, oh, what are we supposed to talk about for this song sucks.
Right.
And then I was like, then we rattled off a bunch. I was like, all right, let's just like really rapid fire some songs, and we started ranking them, and that was fun. But at the same time, I was like, man, I need somebody else to do this. Like, there's like, because we need somebody in the middle. Usually I would probably put myself in the middle, but like, yeah, it got weird. But I would need something like that for that.
Yeah.
I'll think of other ideas, I'm sure. Oh, well, that's still video game related, I guess. Yeah, there's one
for you, other than like a lot of the joke ones that you came up with in the NWP days. It's like you are video games, so it's a little tough.
Yeah, there's I mean, yeah, like it is.
I guess you could do a wrestling podcast. You could.
Yeah, I could probably do that. I don't know if I want to though. I remember throwing that up at one point, like, I could do a wrestling podcast. I was like, I don't, especially now, I don't watch it near as much as I used to, if at all. I've kind of been like, yeah, I'm on hiatus from that for right now. As I think every wrestling fan does at certain points, where you're just like, yeah, I'm just gonna stop watching this for a little bit.
Yeah. I gotta say, like, I was already seeing the improvements with Vince being gone.
Oh yeah,
like the announce team is like fucking great now.
Yeah.
Like even Michael Cole, because like they don't have Vince yelling in their ears.
People,
constantly.
I remember that being like an immediate thing people noticed as soon as he was gone. It was like, yeah, you can tell Michael Cole is just out there having fun now, and it's great. He doesn't have.
They were like into it, like they were like getting up on their feet and like cheering at certain things, and like it was kind of amazing.
Great. That's awesome. Video game related though, I
non-video game related.
Yeah, I know. The only this is in the middle though, because I would do a Skyrim modding podcast. I would love to do that. There is probably enough.
You would probably, that's where you would end up making bank.
I know.
Yeah,
I thought about it. I was like, oh man, I bet money you could reach out to these people that make these mods and fucking talk to them, and it wouldn't even be that hard. Like there is something there. It'd be great. I don't think anybody's done that. Why the hell not? You could. Oh man, yeah, infinite potential there. But I'm like, yeah, but I'm not doing it.
Yeah. I want to see you interview somebody. Yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah, I'd probably have to get somebody else who's better at interviewing than I am, because all I do is just have dumb bullshit. So yeah, not my particular cup of tea interviewing, but honestly I would just like to talk to people about stuff. You know?
I guess it's not really an interview at that point. It's more of just like talking about like the subject, right? Yeah. So that's a different thing.
How'd you do this thing? What gave you the idea? What what all this other stuff? But yeah, other than that, not really much. I'm sure I'm forgetting a bunch of other stuff that I would like to do, but yeah.
My big one would be like a general like geek podcast, like not video game, but just like, like fandoms and shows and comics and like that type of stuff, but specifically with 1 to 2 co-hosts that are sex content creators, and our guest would also be geeky sex content creators, because I think that would be like a really interesting like angle on it, because like a lot, you'll see like a lot of like girls that are like on like OnlyFans or cam girls or stuff like that, who are like super nerdy girls that are like they're doing cosplay and stuff like that, and they're like totally into games and comics and what have you. And I think that's a really interesting phenomenon that has happened. It's the same thing with wrestlers, right? Like there's a certain generation of pro wrestler that is like super into video games, where it's like, this is a weird thing, because I know that like The Rock is not into video games, or Triple H isn't into video games, but like and Cena's not into video games, but like the generation like right after Cena, that, like super into it. And it's the same thing with like like sex content creators, where it's just like, oh yeah, no, they're all like super geeks now. And so like that, I think that'd be very interesting.
Yeah, there you go. That's
the only idea that I've got.
That's all I got too right now.
What is your favorite dinosaur? I think we've answered this before. I'm basic. It's T-Rex.
Yeah, that's a good one. Favorite dinosaur. Oh man. Oh god, let me think. I like a brontosaurus. That's
Brontosaurus is good.
Yeah.
Is that the one that's? Is there still Brontosaurus, or is that the one that like is from our generation and doesn't exist anymore? Or is that Brachiosaurus?
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't remember. The
one of them they like fucked up and isn't actually a thing.
Oh, which?
But I don't know which one it is.
I'm not sure.
Listeners can chime in.
Yeah,
and
I'm not sure either. Listen, I don't know dinosaurs very well. I'll talk a lot of shit, but I don't know a lot of dinosaurs very well. But I don't know why that's a thing I need to talk shit about. I don't know dinosaurs. I don't know shit about dinosaurs. What the fuck do you think I do? But yeah, the one with the long neck. That's the one I like. It's a good one. It has a long neck, and it seems pretty chill. Like they're just out there. They're eating plants. They have long necks like giraffes. They're like the giraffes of dinosaurs. Those ones.
the museum in Denver has like a really awesome, like, it's just like, I think like the back ends and tails of like different dinosaurs,
Yeah.
and they're painted to scale on a wall so you can see like where you stack up to them, and they have like a brontosaurus, and it's like, holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a big boy. That's also like when you're playing Ark, when one of those pops up, it's like, oh
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, even like Horizon with the robot ones. I mean, you had to climb up them and all that stuff. Yeah, that stuff was cool.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll do his fourth one, so we'll break him in half,
why
and
not?
then we'll come back next time. What's your go-to comfort meal?
Oh, spaghetti.
Hmm.
I like spaghetti.
Interesting.
It's probably. I don't think. I feel like I could probably eat spaghetti every day and be good.
Mm-hmm.
It's not too hard to screw up. If we're talking things that I don't mind making, though, it is probably disgusting to everybody else. But I do, and it is in the spaghetti wheelhouse, I guess, but not really. And I do enjoy some Chef Boyardee. No, not Chef Boyardee. Are they Chef Boyardee? I think they are. The ABCs and 1, 2, 3s and dinosaurs with meatballs. Like, I don't, they're fucking great.
No, yeah, absolutely.
And
But-
it matters. It fucking matters that they
No,
are
yeah.
dinosaurs or ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, because the consistency of the noodle within them is good. It's better than whatever else there is. Spaghetti,
Oh, see, my go-tos are the ravioli
those are good too.
and the beefaroni.
I don't like the beefaroni. Never have.
The beefaroni, like the sauce is kind of
yeah, which I've
hit
never
or
been-
miss.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, my thing is that I take a single slice of American cheese and I put that sumbitch
Okay.
on top,
All right, there you
and
go.
I cover it with a small saucer, and then I microwave it for the time.
That makes
it's like,
sense.
I think, a minute and a half.
Yeah.
And it like hyper melts the cheese,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then you just stir it into
yeah.
yeah. And so it's almost like a cheese sauce in there.
You ever tried like with like a cheddar?
No,
No,
I'm a
that,
scumbag.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. There are certain things you don't want to add too fancy of a cheese to.
Yeah,
That's probably one of them.
yeah.
The other one is sloppy joes. I'll fight anybody. You do okay.
I don't know. I've never had cheese on a sloppy joe.
You should try cheese on a sloppy joe, Julian. And only American. I swear to God, like it's
No,
great.
that sounds all
It's
right.
actually really great.
Yeah.
And don't try to fancy it up. Don't try putting like cheddar or some shit on there. It'll sound
No,
good.
Yeah.
But I promise you, sloppy joes are trash. And
No,
and
yeah.
they need
I'm
to
there
have
with you.
trash cheese on top of them. It's great.
Yeah.
I'm not insulting sloppy joes. They're good. I'm just saying.
No, but it's also trash food.
Thank
no,
you. Okay, all right. We're on both.
Multiple things can be true at the same time.
exactly. Okay,
Justin.
thank you. All right. I just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure. I'm clarifying for the people listening that are yelling and upset in defense of sloppy joes right now.
Yeah. Trying to think of a comfort food for me. Honestly, I think a big one for me is the chicken fried steak breakfast at gyms.
Okay.
I mean, anywhere that does a chicken fried steak breakfast, I'll fuck with. But the thing is, like, it's got to be chicken fried steak with hash browns and 2 like over easy eggs.
Okay.
You know, with toast or a biscuit. Like, it's got to be all of that together. Because I am going to break open those eggs and mix them in with the hash browns
As God intended, yeah.
Yeah. I'm also going to, like, you know, as I cut off bites of the chicken fried steak, also, you know, sop that up in the egg yolk.
Yeah, as you would.
Yeah. I'm gonna soak up the biscuits with the leftover gravy and egg yolk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds all right. Yeah. I didn't know I forgot about restaurants. Mine would probably be certain local establishments French fries, I think, are the most amazing food in all of existence. I've never in my limited travels found a better French fries than the place at a local establishment here. And that's that.
Yeah. Yeah, if it's something that I'm making, I don't do it very often, but there's this Polish Reuben casserole that I make that's really good. It's like
Sounds neat.
it's like a layer of sauerkraut on the bottom.
Mhm.
It's noodles on top of that, and then it's like this like cream of mushroom soup based mixture that
A lot
goes
of
on
it.
that,
Yeah, a lot of them are.
and then sliced Polish sausage on top of that with a like a breadcrumb topping and cheese, and then you bake it.
Yeah.
And it's like a nice hearty stick to your ribs type of meal.
There you go.
And it makes a lot, so like you're eating on that for a while.
There you go.
It's some good shit.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right.
Terrible for you.
Oh, for sure. Sounds
Yeah.
awful for you, but
So good.
hey, who cares?
Yeah.
Well, doctors care, but who cares about them?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I did lab work today, and I'm not looking forward to my follow-up.
That's how that
next
goes. Yeah, that's how that
Yeah.
goes.
Casey on Discord says a few questions. I think this was also technically supposed to be for the Patreon, but
Oops.
who is your favorite rival character in gaming?
Rival character?
Yeah, like
Oh, like
rival to the main character,
okay,
like Ken to Ryu, that type of thing.
okay, all right.
Yeah.
Who is the rival in that case? Is Ryu the main character, or is because
I think technically Ryu is considered the main character, and Ken's
that
considered the
I guess
rival.
that's my question. Is like, okay,
Yeah.
I could easily say like, and his name's not Gary. I guess Red for blue or blue for red or whatever for the Pokemon. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's mine. I actually think I always have loved Iori Kusanagi or whatever from King of Fighters. Yeah, I love that dude's vibe, and he's like the rival to Kyo or whatever. I don't actually know the fucking story very well, but I just love that dude's fucking vibe, man.
Yeah. Oh, his style is so cool
It's
too.
so cool.
Yeah.
That might be up there for me. That's like the first one that comes to mind anyway.
Yeah. Mine is pretty basic, but it's Majima.
Yeah, Majima's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't think of that either.
He loses some points in my eyes simply because like of Yakuza. I honestly think that Yakuza 0, as much as people consider it to be a really good jump, like the place to start, I think not only is it not a good place to start that series, but also it makes Majima's character worse because you're expecting him to have a certain thing that happens during the course of the story that turns him crazy. And no, it's literally just he meets Kiryu one day and it's like a switch flips.
Yeah, it is kind of weird. It is kind of weird. Yeah, I will agree with you on that. Yeah, for sure.
Which leads to, I know there's certain fan theories that is that he's not crazy and it's all just an act, but I feel that it's like way too like he's been that way for so long in his life. Like he is canonically 60 at the point that this next game is coming out. So like at a certain point, that's just who you are.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't really buy that fan theory myself.
For sure.
So I would have preferred it to be like, no, like you can kind of see like what happened and he went through these things and then it just kind of shattered something in his persona and now he's the way that he is. But
yeah, you kind of expect that point. I remember playing that and being like pretty unfamiliar with the series though, but then like kind of.
Oh, I was too when I played it.
Yeah,
but now that I've played more of the games,
now
and
that I think about it, I never really stopped and thought about it before. But yeah, you're right. It is kind of weird that there is no real point for that happens in that story.
Yeah, and I do think that like, because Majima is so different in Zero, they're playing with your expectations of who that character is.
Yeah.
If you know that character.
Right.
But as a very first exposure to Yakuza, that's completely lost on you.
Yeah, absolutely. I can agree with that. Yeah, I guess that answers it. I can't think of anybody else.
Yeah. It's like for me, it's actually like outside of it. Like, like Vegeta is like my favorite rival of all time.
Sure.
Because I actually like him better than the main character.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's a lot more interesting for sure. No offense to Goku fans, but yeah, Vegeta is way more entertaining, I think.
Yeah. I like, and I think Toriyama, he must have felt this way too. I love the idea of the short guy being the one that you've got to watch out for. And
Right.
Vegeta used to look a lot shorter at the beginning of the series. Like he kind of got taller over
Yeah.
time, which was weird. Sort of like Wolverine in the comics, like because artists loved Wolverine so much that they didn't want to make him short. They wanted him to like be his stature to match his personality. It's like, no, it's not the point.
No.
But you know, because like think about like Majin Buu, right? Like his ultimate form is the smallest one.
Yeah.
You know,
Very true.
Gohan was probably his strongest when he was a teenager.
Yes.
I don't know. I like
Maybe.
that stuff. Like my idea for my next Baldur's Gate 3 character is actually a gnome monk.
There you go. That'd be fun.
Yeah, because that was also my thing with Final Fantasy 11 is that I had a Taru monk / ninja because I love the idea. I called him my 2-foot tall monk of doom.
There you go. Hell yeah.
Casey says you get 3 tacos and are allowed to mix and match. Which ones are you choosing?
I just get like I don't really like vegetables on tacos. I don't really like vegetables at all.
I mean, you don't necessarily have to have vegetables on the tacos.
Oh, okay. Well, what are you just putting like what meat and cheese on it?
I mean, there's lots of different tacos, Justin.
Are there?
That's why he's asking like what you can only choose 3 to mix and match.
To me, I only really have like meat and cheese on tacos. That's really about it.
Yeah. See, here's yeah. I knew I could tell already. It's like you don't know tacos.
I don't know tacos, man.
Yeah. Here's the thing. So I will tell you my Torchy's Tacos order.
All right.
Because that that's a local thing here. Well, I think they're beyond local now.
Yeah.
Because there's actually one in Colorado Springs now. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I get the Trailer Park Trashy, which is it's basically it's a let's see, that is a chicken taco.
Okay.
But it's trashy, which means that they take all the vegetables out and they just smother it in cheese.
Sure, why not? Yeah.
So that's a really good one. I get the Baja shrimp, which is fried shrimp with this nice Baja lime sauce and cilantro, and there's some other stuff in there that's really good.
Yeah.
And then I get the Democrat, which is barbacoa.
Okay.
And so that's real good.
Yeah, we don't have anything like that here. Like nothing. We got Taco Bell. You want some chicken on a taco? Yeah, we can do that, I guess. Other than that,
I hate that they only have the nacho cheese Doritos Locos taco because I would I like
the Cooler Ranch.
Cool Ranch.
Cool Ranch is way
I'm
better.
a Cool Ranch man.
It's better than nacho cheese. I'll fight anybody. I agree.
Oh man, respect. Yes.
Yeah, no, it's 100%. I find nacho cheese people out of their minds, but I guess I get it, but not really.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we don't really have Taco Bell. I mean, when I lived in Utah, we had a plethora of Mexican places to eat, and mostly I would just get burritos. And then the girl I dated would tell me that all the tacos that you get anywhere are just American versions of it and not really authentic at all. And I was like, oh, well, okay, well, so. They're like, yeah, no, it's usually like trash meat in tacos. It's like street food for the most part. And I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Like a lot of it's like in Mexico or whatever, according to them. It was like you were eating a lot of like kind of cheaper meat. So like a lot of like actually like brain and stuff like that. There's stuff.
Oh yeah, well at Taco Bell it's not. It's almost meat. It's not even. No, it's not even that.
It's kind of the same concept, but like I mean, like it. I don't know. I'm probably forgetting a lot of details of that, but
I mean, there's differences in the tortillas and
corn tortillas are big in Mexico. Nobody uses flour tortillas there. Also, orange cheese not a thing that they use there. That's completely American.
Yeah.
But yeah, I this is a bad question to ask me, Casey. We don't. I live in Ohio, bro. We don't fucking. We got no business in the taco industry. We got no fucking foot in the game. All right. Ask us about our weird chili spaghetti. I guess that shit's fucking disgusting. Skyline chili. Fuck off.
Oh, but that's just Cincinnati, though.
Yeah, but that's the only Ohio thing I can think of at the moment. So that's what I went with.
No. Yeah.
That shit's
I remember
gross.
podcast friends of ours, long time ago, was a show called the T&B Show, and they were based out of Cincinnati, and so they would talk about Skyline Chili a lot.
Did they like it?
I think like one of them did, and they were kind of like split on it. Like I think one of them was just like, yeah, it's whatever. But it was like, I think the thing is like, but sometimes you just got a hankering for it, like even if you don't like it.
I don't. I don't. I don't have that hankering ever.
Yeah, but I think maybe if you grew up in Cincinnati,
maybe,
right?
maybe if I got it from Cincinnati, sure. But we don't have there's no like actual location you can go here, so maybe that's a thing. Like it was always like, yeah, we made it, and I was like, oh, this is awful.
He continues with his number 3. What's a trend you want to see come back?
A trend I want to see come back?
Yeah, I think it'd be gaming or whatever.
Jinko jeans. Let's fucking go.
Bring
I was
going to say Matrix aesthetic.
Jinko jeans can fit in with that. Absolutely.
I was thinking more just like, the cool leather with the shades.
Yeah. It was around roughly the same time. Matrix was a little after it. Yeah, 100% it was.
I miss the whale tail.
Yeah. Good old, yeah. Oh, Lita.
Yeah, that was fun.
That's the first. That's the only one that ever comes to mind for me on that one. I don't know. That's my answer. Jinko jeans. They were fun. There was a lot of pant. That's it.
I love the fact that I didn't even know what they were called for like 15 years after they were a thing. I just knew them as like the baggy jeans.
The real big baggy jeans. Yeah. They were, you had to
like people would be talking about Jinkos. I'm like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah. It was a whole thing, man. It was a whole thing. That was just saying that takes me back to the exact moment in time when it was a thing, because it was that for me, it was 7th grade. That was, you were not cool unless you had that shit. And I'll actually throw another shout out to our friend Eric Peacock. I miss the trend of the movie soundtrack being like a very big thing. As far as like, this album is coming out ahead of the movie, and it's like a huge part of the marketing. And also like, we made these original songs for this movie, but they're people that like it happens occasionally, right? Like I know the Barbie movie was a pretty big one, but not to the level that it used to be. Man,
where like,
go back and watch fucking Prince doing the Batman fucking video or whatever. That shit is wild.
Yeah.
Like that type of it's insane.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. We don't do it anymore. So yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah. What is the maximum time you're willing to drive for one night out? Have you listened to the show?
Yeah. Depends on what I'm doing on that one night out. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, because I guess if it's like a concert or something like that, like, I've driven like 4 hours, no problem. Like, I think this is also a bad question for me because I live in Texas.
Yeah.
So it's like you got to drive a fair bit to get anywhere to do anything. So
yeah, I mean,
like it's not a thing for me.
Ohio, the max is like I guess I could go to Cincinnati, which is like a 4-hour drive. Would I do it? Most of the time, the answer was no. So I'm gonna say 2.5, which is about the distance to Columbus for me. I've done that plenty of times. It's not my favorite drive back to make. It's a fine drive there. Not fun to drive back. I once drove it in a blizzard. Not great. I don't recommend you do that. But I did it. Yeah. That was to see a concert. Actually, I think that was the one where I seen the guy from Chiodos. that was the one. It all comes back full circle.
That's right.
Yeah.
We'll close with this last one from Casey, and then we'll come back. Next episode. Like I said, we'll spread these out over a few episodes.
Sure.
And then as new ones come in as well. but he says, you're in charge of a new console maker entering the market. You're not allowed to use English letters, shapes, or numbers for the face buttons. What do you choose? That doesn't really leave much, Casey.
Yeah. Everything is a shape when you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we go with Cyrillic? Like, is that what you're like?
Can you?
I guess I would go with like would go with bumps.
You
right?
could go
Like,
with that, or you could just do colors.
I was thinking colors, but there's people that are colorblind.
Oh yeah, that's super true.
Yeah. So I think you would have to go with like Braille-like bumps, like 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you could just, you can't number them?
You can't number them. No.
That was in the rules. Okay. I wasn't sure
Yeah.
if he just said, alphabetical letters or whatever. Not that. Small electrical charges that vary depending on what, and it's miserable to play.
I guess if you want to like take it back to like a toy like aesthetic, like especially for Nintendo, it's like Mario, Bowser, Luigi, and Peach.
Yeah, sure.
Like little pictures of them on the controllers.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be super annoying though. Press the Bowser button.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I wanted to do it just because I
Because
think that's really stupid.
Yeah. I think even Nintendo's like, no, that's a bit too far, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's too much. The cow says moo.
Yeah.
For them.
I guess you could do different materials. Like you have a plastic button, a metal button, a rubber button.
Oh yeah.
You could do it.
You could.
It's not great. It would be weird, but you could do it.
I don't
see. It's not even what you prefer. It's what is available. Like that's
right. Yeah, he eliminated so many things.
Yeah,
like
it's not even like okay, which one? What would be the best? No. It's like okay, but what can you actually do that like is like feasible? Like somebody could use it. Yeah, that's tough. But yeah, I feel like that's about the only answers I can give right now.
Yeah, I guess if pictures were on the table, maybe you could do like elements, right? So it's like fire, water, earth, and
sure. Yeah. The Magic the Gathering symbols, they're all here. It's 5 buttons now. You got white, you got black, you got blue, you got red, and you got green. Almost forgot about green.
But do they have symbols though? Because like again,
we're
running into the color
absolutely.
situation.
It's the Magic the Gathering controller. It's the skull. It's the whatever the plains symbol is. I can't remember. The fire, the water, and the little tree.
Okay. Oh wait, no, but we can't use shapes.
Everything's a shape.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because I was like, okay, wait, like let's think about this. So like, the square button could be like a sword because that's typically the attack button, and then like the X button could be like a boot because that's like typically the jump button, and then like triangle could be like a map because it's like the menu button.
At this point, the game the controller has to be a touch screen because even the buttons are a shape. So
yeah.
You've gone too far, Casey. You can't come back now.
He always does. There's always at least one question from Casey that's like, what?
Where I have to, where the more I think about it, the more insane it becomes to me. And yeah, like I feel like for a while these were fine, and then we got here, and then I was like, okay, all right, no, this is the one. Yeah, I'm sure he'll have a rebuttal, and that will be fun to see.
Yes. I think that's a show, Justin.
I think that's a show, Julian. I think we did it.
We did it. Like I'm actually. Oh, actually, real quick, can we switch to nano communication?
Oh yeah, sure. Hold on.
Holy shit! I can't believe we did it. It's like 3 hours. Like we didn't have shit, dude.
I know.
Like this, they just have no idea. It's just like it doesn't like it. Yeah, they're just a bunch of suckers. It's insane.
No, we went on a lot of tangents, which was good. Like I
did.
I was cluing in on tangents that I could go down to fill time, because that's how you fill out a show like this. You just go, man, I got shit. But they mentioned a thing I've been thinking about. Let's talk about the weird sex robot song from Lenny Kravitz.
That's right. It's just brain diarrhea,
yeah,
and they Just lap it up.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
It's
All
good.
right, okay, let's finish wrapping up the show.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks as always to the wonderful Megan McDuffie for our theme song and interstitial tracks. Thanks to friend of the show, John Gholson, for being our announcer and our logo and artwork. Yeah, and you know where to find us. We'll skip that this time.
Good.
I've been Julian Titus. He's been Justin Ham. We've been the Stage Select. Signing off.
Uh-huh.
The Stage Select is copyrighted and owned by Space Monkey Mafia Productions, specializing in independent podcasting. Please consider sharing the show with your friends and support us by joining our Patreon or donating to our coffee. Thank you, and good night.